Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 665. It is December 30th, 2020. My name is Nick Henderson. Joining me tonight is Brad Simons.
Hello.
Dolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
Christopher Guthridge.
Hi.
And Christopher Davis.
Good evening.
This is actually our last podcast of 2020. Let's put a bow on this hellhole of a year. And we're going to do that by doing our annual preview show of the year to come. So we're going to talk about a lot of games tonight. We have been working closely with our community in Discord over the past couple days to put together a pretty comprehensive list. Although right up until we started recording this podcast, we were still thinking of games that were strangely missing from the list. So there might be a few last minute additions, but we have over 140 games right now on the list. Of course, we're not going to go into great detail on all of those, but we're going to do it a little bit differently this year.
I got 8 minutes on Atelier Ryzen 2.
No, please no. We're each going to go around and we're going to do our personal top 3 most anticipated games of next year. And those are the ones we're probably going to spend the most time talking about. And then after that, we're just going to blast through the rest of the list and just kind of mention things and talk about the high notes and why you should care, why you shouldn't care, whatever it may be. Because like I said, a lot of games to cover tonight. Because 2021 looks like it's going to be a pretty awesome year. But before we do that, I want to remind everybody because we have less than 48 hours now. If you are a member of this community, if you are listening to this show, and you have not yet submitted your personal top 10 games of 2020, and you want to help define what our community top 10 list is for this year, please go to discord.gg/4player, find the Game of the Year 2020 channel, and pinned at the top of that channel is the link to the form. You can submit your ranked list. You can nominate games for the award categories we're going to go over in January, and I'm going to let that run until midnight tomorrow night, December 31st. Wait, is that tomorrow night? What is?
Yes.
Yeah. Today's the 30th, right? Yeah. So tomorrow at midnight. So make sure you get that in. There's also a link to that form also on 4playernetwork.com. So there's no excuse. Get out there and do it.
But staff. There's no excuse to get your lists in.
Hey, we're gonna do a big. I uploaded footage. Did you see, Chris Davis?
You uploaded a single piece of footage. Thank you.
I uploaded a singular piece of footage for our Game of the Year 2020
go vote,
videos,
especially if you live in Georgia.
And go vote, especially if you live in Georgia. Yes, thank you.
Off topic, but very not important. For Game of the Year, but yeah, you can do that too.
When is the actual runoff? Is it
the 5th?
Tuesday.
The 5th. Yeah. So yeah, I guess okay, gotcha. Yeah. So if you live in Georgia, if you're one of our lovely community members who lives in Georgia, please get out there and vote. All right. Before we start this list, did we want to ask Nolan why the hell he's been playing Zelda games this week?
You're welcome to try.
Nolan, why the hell have you been playing so many Zelda games this week?
So I've always liked Zelda. I've always been a fan of the series. Not too long ago, there was a deal on the internets for the Zelda Manga. I've always kind of known of its existence, but they reprinted it in slightly larger sizes and hardcover, and it came in like a little Zelda chest. And so I decided to pick it up just because I heard kind of good things about it. It was on sale. So I picked it up and I was looking at it, and it's not just like some random thing. It's kind of like retellings of the games, but in like manga format. So a little more in-depth, a little more character-focused, like Link talks. It has interactions with people and stuff like that. And 2 of the games that were a part of the manga were the Oracle games. And I'd never
an Oracle of Ages.
Correct. Yep. And so I had never played those games just because they came out when I didn't have money. So I just never got around to it. It's one of those things, I pick up games all the time when they're on sale and shit, and then just never play them. And so I was like, you know what? It's probably about time that I play those. So I played those, and then I was like, you know what? Like, I like Zelda a lot. And this manga covers, other Zelda games. And, I was like, you know what? Honestly, I haven't played Ocarina of Time 15 years, maybe a little more than that.
Wait, when was our...
I wasn't a part of the original Project M.
For some reason, I was just thinking we did Ocarina of Time more than once for Project M, but of course that's not true.
It just felt like it happened more than once.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah. So
wait, you didn't play that on the 3DS?
I got it, but I never I dabbled in it, and I was like, cool, but then I never finished it. And then I think it's probably just because when it came out, I was just busy with other things at the time.
I think the 3DS version is the definitive version of that game.
Oh, currently. Definitely. Oh yeah. But I mean, it's funny because you can look at all of the Zelda games, and I kind of did. I made a Google Doc of all the games and which ones I had and which ones I was missing and which ones I've played and which ones I kind of want to replay. And when you look at like the dates when they came out, you can clearly tell why I didn't play the ones I didn't play. Like the Oracle games came out in 2001. I was a freshman in high school. I didn't have any money. I was back then. I only played what time I had, and then I think I want to say Ocarina of Time on the 3DS came out. I think I was in college, and so I didn't have any money. And so it's just one of those things where I could only play the games I could afford to play at the time and whatever. So yeah, now that I kind of have the time, because what would I be playing? 2020 games. So I'm
not.
You could.
Yeah, so I'm playing some Zelda games. So yeah, in the past week, I have started and finished both Oracle games. I did a linked game. So it's at the end of one of them, you get a code and you input that in the second game, and it kind of changes a little bit, and you get the true ending. And that's how you unlock certain upgrades, like the Master Sword and stuff like that. And then I started Minish Cap, and I started Ocarina of Time.
I've never played Minish Cap.
Ooh, Minish Cap. Yeah, that was another one. Minish Cap came out in, I think, 2004. So I was like either a junior or senior in high school then. So yeah, I didn't have any money.
The final boss of
Minish Cap back in the day and never finished it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The final boss of Oracles was the Twin Rova, right?
Boss.
Oh, okay. What was that, Chris Davis?
I was asking, the final boss of the Oracles, that was Twin Rova, right? The witches?
That is the final boss of the second game, but then you have to fight Onyx, I think is his name.
How long does it take to finish both of those games? Because those have always been games I've been curious about, but obviously never did.
I guess
yeah,
you can't get them on 3DS.
They're supposed to take 15 hours.
Yeah, I would say 15 sounds about right.
Yeah. For both, like together or each?
Together I would say probably closer to 30.
Oh my God, Nolan! How much Zelda have you played this week?
Well, I played a decent amount.
The minecart.
Well, you know what? I don't think this is the last time we're going to talk about Zelda.
I will say, hold on. So one thing I will say. Oh my God, I end up having to look up one thing because similarly, I think it's always kind of been stated that Ocarina of Time, the water temple, is one of the worst ones.
Unless you're playing on 3DS, in which case it's actually pretty fun.
There is a temple in Oracle of Ages. Where you have ages. We have to go inside Jabu Jabu, and it is the worst fucking dungeon in the world because you have to do all these changing of water levels,
like the water temple in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, and trying to figure out which one you need to be where and how you backtrack, and oh my God, it is frustrating. And the thing is, you get like a mermaid suit that allows you to swim underwater. But the problem is that the way it changes the controls, you can't just press a direction and go. You have to keep constantly tapping to make yourself move. You have to tap, 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 tap. Oh my God, it's so annoying to have to do that. But anyway, both games are really good though.
Wonderful.
You know how they had the minecart dungeon in the Oracle games? They have one in Minish Cap as a throwback, but it's so cool when he jumps in the minecart in the new one. The animation and the sounds, it's kind of a surprise.
So I will say that the Oracle games were 2001, Minish Cap was 2004. Holy crap, the upgrade between the Oracle games and Minish Cap is astonishing. It is crazy how much better Minish Cap looks, really even though it's just a few years later. Yeah.
Sorry.
I remember that being a nice looking game.
Also, fuck you, Nick. What have you been playing that's so important?
Me?
Yeah.
What? Have I been playing something important?
No, I mean, like, you're criticizing his choice of playing Zelda games.
No,
I
I'm
want to
just
know
busting.
what you've
I'm
been
just
playing.
busting balls.
What
That's
you been
all.
playing?
I've been playing Visage, baby. I finished Visage last night.
Well, that sounds.
Well, you've been playing Visage
pretty-
on the feed. What have you been
Yes,
playing
I have.
otherwise?
I have. Okay, sorry. We
Game
need to get
number
this show
one.
on the road. All right, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. Like I said, 2021 preview show. We each brought 3 games. There's no overlap. We made sure there's no overlap here. So we each have 3 games that we want to bring to the table here to talk about a little in depth. These are the games that we're personally the most excited to play in 2021 as it stands right now. And then we'll go down the master list that we've been working with the community to put together. Maybe we'll do that in the second segment. So for now, why don't we start? Brad, do you feel comfortable introducing the first game?
Yeah, sure. My first game is Chernobylite from the. I'm just kidding.
We're not 5 minutes into this fucking podcast. You're already busting my balls.
This punk ass bitch.
I'll start off with the banger, I guess. My number 1 most anticipated game of next year, Monster Hunter Rise, the new Monster Hunter, which, I had to explain to Nick what it was earlier today. And I'm wondering if a lot of people don't realize that Monster Hunter Rise is the next big Monster Hunter game.
Well, my assumption is they probably think it's tied in with the movie.
Well,
oh god, the timing on that probably couldn't be any worse because it's like
people
don't know whether to love Monster Hunter or hate it right now.
No, not just that. Like, it's funny you say that because Iceborne did get movie tie-in DLC, and you can now play as Mila Jovovich in Monster Hunter Iceborne.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
pretty bad.
Brad, did you end up going to see Monster Hunter?
No. I almost did that one day when I saw that no one was buying tickets. Have a whole theater to myself. It might still happen, but it might already be out of theaters. Actually, because of COVID, movies stick around forever. Okay, so here's the deal about Monster Hunter Rise. People think because it's on the Switch that maybe this is not like the next big entry in the series, because the last one, Monster Hunter World, which was the big sort of reinvention, the new started a new era of Monster Hunter, right? While the Switch just had that port of Generations, right? Which is old school Monster Hunter. It's hard to go back to. But this is new generation Monster Hunter. This is post-world. All of the friendly, awesome stuff like the seamless maps and the like just a lot of the quality of life improvements that they added in World. That's all going to be in Rise, but it's also going to have a little bit of the old school too. So, but does it being on Switch like make anybody worried a little bit? Because it was going from PS4 to Switch. Yeah, but Monster Hunter has always followed whatever the most popular platform is at the time. It's always like that thing. The PSP was huge in Japan.
Yeah, as I say, the PSP and 3DS both had really big Monster Hunter games on them.
Yeah, in Monster Hunter, after, of course, the first 2 actually came out on PS2, which was huge at the time, and then the series had a long stretch on the PSP, and it wasn't until the Wii came out that they moved it to the Wii, and then ever since then it just follows the most popular system, right? And right now that's the Switch, especially in Japan, and so it's the next big entry. I'm excited. I'm excited for this because I want to be able to play this on a handheld. Monster Hunter is a very time-consuming game, and there's a lot you can do outside of just like your main hardest hunt, right? You're doing farming and grinding, and there's quests where you're just like getting resources and stuff, whatever, right? Like being able to do that like while sitting on the couch while someone else is like taking up the TV is nice, right? And then throwing it in the dock when you're doing a big hunt or whatever, right? Is kind of the thing. Yeah, I did a lot of like remote play on my Vita of Monster Hunter World because I wanted to play it so badly, and it didn't work great. I know the series has historically been very handheld oriented, but my only concern was like, because obviously they made a lot of changes to Monster Hunter World because they had that extra power to do that. So now all of a sudden translating those updates, those changes, improvements to Switch again. I'm wondering if it's going to play well in handheld mode. So here's the thing, and I'll wrap up on this because we don't want to spend too much time, is that one of the cool new things about Monster Hunter Rise, and the reason I'm so excited about it, is because I thought, it would be like a Valkyria Chronicles thing, right? Like a handheld can't handle like the big maps of like Monster Hunter World, right? They would have to pare it down and have to go back to the old style. But not only are all these big and seamless, but they're all like huge and vertical now. It has
Right.
like a climb anywhere thing, like mechanic now, where you can kind of like scale up huge. You could go anywhere, right? You couldn't do that in Monster Hunter World, and you have the wire bug, which makes you like so acrobatic. So you're like jumping off cliff sides and using your wire bug to get to places that you could never get in a Monster Hunter before. So even though it's on a handheld again, like the scope of it actually feels like really impressive.
It's gonna be the Breath of the Wild of
look at something like Breath of the Wild. I mean, that's definitely a giant open world game where you can do quite a bit. And I'm sure, that was what, 2 years ago now that game came out.
3 years ago.
Yeah,
2017.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. That, I mean, look how that was something that was developed, as an OG game for the Switch. Imagine how much has happened in the past couple of years in terms of understanding the limitations of what you can do on a Switch. I can imagine it being pretty good.
And they've shown a ton of footage, and it runs well. It did get leaked that it's eventually coming to PC, so that's exciting as well. If you don't want to play it on Switch, I'm thinking there's going to be a Switch Pro, and that's probably going to be the best place to play it. But we'll see.
We'll see. I think this is probably a good transition. Why don't we throw it over to Nolan? Because I know one of Nolan's games that he wanted that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Nolan, Breath of the Wild 2 was one of your.
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo, totally a game. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Breath of the Wild 2.
Ghostwire
is one of my most anticipated games. Definitely excited, especially just because of the current mindset I am in regards to Zelda.
Just tons of Zelda on the brain.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm doing. What's up?
We all agreed that putting this on this list was appropriate because we don't know exactly when it's coming out. The big question right now is like, what is Nintendo even have next year? And like we just established, it's been 3 years since Breath of the Wild 1. There's probably a lot of stuff that they don't need to do this time around. Like they don't have to worry about a lot of the systems or the way the world kind of works. So maybe they can develop it faster. But here's the question: Do we think in our heart of hearts that this game is coming out in 2021?
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
No.
Yeah. It was announced a long time ago. Nintendo needs a big release. I think it's going to beat Metroid.
Probably. Yeah. So I don't remember when it was originally announced. It's been at least a year, right? Since we've known.
It was literally. I think it was announced in 2018, like a year after Breath of the Wild 1. And it was announced during a Nintendo Direct, if I remember correctly. Right? Or it wasn't E3, was it? I'm pretty sure it was Nintendo Direct, where they just like dropped
I definitely know
shadow drop
that
at the end, like boom.
The trailer that I pulled for this was from June of 2019, and it said in development. So we've known at least for a year and a half that the game has been in development. And like Brad had mentioned, or maybe Nick had mentioned, a lot of the assets are already there. It doesn't look like this is getting an overhaul. It's definitely going to be very similar to the first one, which is fine. So yeah, my assumption is they're just building a new world. New dungeons
there could be a big twist, like a Majora's Mask style.
I'm fully expecting
definitely could
that.
be. And my hope is
a serious history of like doing like the Dark World stuff too. I could imagine that happening again.
So one of the things and Brad had kind of mentioned it, is the potential for like a Switch Pro, and I would not be surprised if they announce, hey, here's a Switch Pro, and launching with it is fucking Breath of the Wild 2. I would not be surprised if they did something like that.
That would be a real slick way of convincing people to buy an incremental upgrade of your console, because like nothing
it's the same thing as like PlayStation
like
Pro. Yeah, like that sold pretty fucking well. The PS4 Pro when that came out, so I would not be surprised if they did something. And yes, I would definitely be up for getting a Switch that's a little more powerful, because if you look at
let me ask you this.
Switch games, what's up, Brad?
What if it's a console only though? Would you be still as excited?
You mean the Switch Pro is
no longer a handheld?
Not
kind of. They do the opposite of the light.
I don't think you can do that.
But look what they do with the light.
No. But here's what I'm saying. I don't think you can do that and have that be the only option, because
look at the light. It's like it's literally the opposite of the light. The casuals get the light, the hardcore get
I agree with Brad. I can picture a scenario to where they get rid of the existing version of the Switch and they just have the light version and then this new console, more powerful version.
But here's if you want. It's literally called the Switch because you can switch from handheld to console. Like the system doesn't even make sense anymore.
Well, not on the Switch Lite. The Switch Lite, you can't. It's just handheld.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't
you're
do
right.
anything.
I keep forgetting that thing exists.
Yeah. So if they did that, if they released a Switch Pro and it was no longer a Switch, it was just a Swatch or whatever you want to call it now that it's not switchable. I would be interested if I could easily play it on my current Switch and the new. You know what I'm saying? Like if I now just had fucking two
Like if
Nintendo
you can
consoles.
move your save file.
If it was a cloud save and I could easily play it between both, then I would be fine with it.
Yeah, me too.
Because yes, while maybe playing on the older hardware, it does not run as smooth. Maybe look at something like late gen like PS4 games, where on the Pro they ran it like 2K or 4K, and on the regular base one like 1080p. Like if it runs at a slightly lower resolution and stuff, then sure, I'd be fine with it.
I don't
now
think
we're
it would
straight
be
up just
cloud
talking about
saves,
Switch
though.
Pro.
Yeah,
I know. So anyway, yes, Breath of the
Wild
Wild 2. I'm definitely excited for it. I don't think anybody here didn't say that Breath of the Wild was one of the best games they had played in 2017 when it came out. It was an amazing game. It still holds up even now. Like it is a fantastic game. I'm definitely excited for it.
You know why I think I'm super excited about it more than anything is because that game was universally critically acclaimed, but almost everybody had the same complaint, and it had to do with the dungeons and the dungeon design and that
definitely.
Shit. And I cannot imagine them putting out a sequel where they don't directly address that complaint. So imagine getting everything we loved about Breath of the Wild 1 with the dungeon design, like the more elaborate dungeon, there's more, what's the word I'm looking for? Variety.
Diversity.
Variety.
There's more variety. Yeah. It's one of the things with what were the name of the dungeons, like the small ones you would do, the puzzles, like just the really quick ones.
Shrines, and then the Guardians.
That was one of my big complaints. If you go back and you look at like our end of the year show from 2017 and talking about Zelda, is I definitely remember bringing that up, that similar to something like Ocarina of Time, where you have the different regions in the world. You have the water area and the forest area and the mountain area, and each one kind of has their own deal. Grassy versus watery versus fiery. Why weren't the shrines kind of similar to the world that was around them? That something as simple as that, I think, would elevate the game much higher. And I do think they probably heard that feedback from a lot of people.
I think they have to tackle that head on.
Yeah, but like, look, I think the Divine Beasts were cool, and
no, they were.
Sure, the DLC weren't like long or deep, but like I think getting like a big core, like cool hook that makes this different is more important than like putting back in more traditional dungeons. So as long as, and they have to, as long as that core hook is clever enough, man, I'm gonna be super happy.
All right,
I'll do 120 shrines again. I don't give a fuck.
No, yeah, the shrines were great, just a little repetitive. All right,
they're better than the ones in Immortals.
Yeah,
I like Immortals, but
yeah. All right, Crispy. What's pick a game on your top 3 there? And
were we supposed to order these?
No, not really. I just forced Nolan to talk about Breath of the Wild 2 first.
I think if we're going from big open games, the next one should be Natural.
What?
Just say
he's trying to lead Crispy to a game.
Well, I refuse. My first most anticipated game, one of most anticipated games, not the one that I'm firstly most anticipating, is Gotham Knights.
Hell yes.
The kind of spiritual successor to the Arkham series, I guess, even though it's not clear. I don't think it takes place in the same storyline.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's a shared
they've made
universe.
it clear it's not related to the Arkham franchise.
Right. This is. I was totally expecting them to announce an Arkham game, to be totally honest. So when they came out and were like, "Hey, we're making it's a game in a similar type, like universe, like Batman universe, but like not at all related to those games. The word Arkham's not in the title." I was like, "Oh, touche. That was a good surprise."
You can say not related, but Thrawn is the thing, right? So, nice spoilers. Hayden Christensen's back, so what are you gonna do?
That's true.
Nothing's dead forever, including Arkham.
I think they do a pretty. I think this announcement of this game, just in general, was like a good way to claw their way back from being known as the guys that made Arkham Origins. You know what I mean? Like this is this is way more ambitious, I suppose, than that game ever was.
Yeah, and I'm totally willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on this, even though I really didn't like Origins. But that was like 5-6 years
To
ago.
some
at this
people,
point.
it's their favorite.
That's not true. That's not true.
He's like, I
It's
refuse
true.
to believe. I refuse to
That's
believe.
not true.
I've seen message board threads.
Okay. Well, I can find any dumbass opinion on the internet, I guess. But
That's a fact.
what's exciting about this game is the fact that they're gonna have the interchangeable 4 characters, the Bat family, you know.
And not one
No
of them
Batman.
is Batman.
There's no Batman. There's no Jim Gordon. There's
But
no
he's gonna,
Joker.
But he's
as far
gonna
as
show
we
up,
know.
right?
Yeah,
Batman's,
of course,
Batman's just
Batman
gonna
will.
show up.
Of course he
I mean, he
will.
shows up in the trailer, you know, in his like death message or whatever. But I think the strength of this game is going to live or die in how interesting and diverse they can make the different characters. Because right now you've got Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, and Jason Todd, and like 3 of those characters, they hit people with different size sticks, you know. And then you've got the one guy who just uses guns, which I mean that's different, but like so is playing as Red Hood going to be completely different than playing as Robin per se, because Robin's supposed to be like the big stealth expert. He can like fucking teleport and shit, which I guess they're also using as a way to tie in the fact that like this exists in a world where like the Justice League exists because Robin's using Justice League technology. And yeah, so I think that's exciting. I think also the fact that right now we know that Mr. Freeze is going to be a villain in the game. Love Mr. Freeze. Who doesn't love Mr. Freeze? And the Court of Owls and the Talons.
I almost forgot about the Court of Owls thing, but that does sound pretty dope.
They're the big bads for this whole thing, which is awesome, which is great. What is it, Nolan?
I remember seeing in the trailer that you playing as Batgirl, but then I want to say it was Jason Todd, right? Or was it Nightwing that was with you in the trailer? Or was it Rob? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Someone was alongside you. Is this a single player or was this co-op or was that just like an AI companion?
Well, I think
do we know?
The whole hook is that it's a drop in, drop out co-op.
Oh, okay. So that's I couldn't remember. I hadn't looked into it enough.
It's 2-player co-op.
I mean,
yes,
100%.
It is 2-player co-op. So I mean, if you're playing like an Arkham style Batman game in what they're saying, which who knows, but they're saying is going to be a bigger, more vibrant Gotham City, and you can do that 2 players. That's kind of cool, right?
Especially that's what I was going to bring up. Is if that is true, then I'm even more excited for this game because I definitely want to play with someone else as like Batman and Robin or
that's it kind of feels like it feels like, oh, this is an interesting direction that like maybe the Avengers could have been this, and
it's funny because Avengers followed this arc where everyone's like, yeah, but what is it? We just find 3 friends and we play like a game that's kind of like an Arkham game.
Well, yeah,
and then you start to hear rumblings like maybe this is Destiny.
Like, oh,
I think
this
is Destiny.
Yeah.
This is Destiny.
Robin's playing Avengers. I forgot.
This is bad Destiny. But you know what? Because Anthem and Avengers were massive flops critically and commercially, I think you're going to start seeing games shy away from just being Destiny-like, which is good news for Nick.
I mean, if they care about their games being good,
to me right now.
Like I don't think that's necessarily true at all, because I think the prospect of them landing a live service game is so like oh, if we can just get one of those, if we can just get the next Fortnite, like they'll throw shit at the wall all day. Like I think they'll keep trying.
Sure,
but success will pay for
talking
like,
about
the lessons they learned weren't this type of game is bad. It's like, okay, we just need to do this better.
You say that, but we're talking about massive flops from BioWare, Square Enix, and Bethesda. Don't forget Fallout 76.
But
those
BioWare,
are big names.
Yeah, but it's not like BioWare's making these choices. It's not like they're just going, oh man, we just need to make a Destiny. Like it's like companies that own BioWare, like A&E, or like who owns AT&T owns fucking somebody owns
EA.
EA, I think it's either EA or Activision. AT&T, owns, and they're going like, oh my god, make us more money. Like, so I don't know. This whole
let's not forget
we're getting a little
like BioWare also managed to mess up a single player Mass Effect game. You know what I mean?
You could say 2. They messed up 2 single player Mass Effect games.
Yeah, but one in particular was like a
You could
buggy
even
mess.
say that they've never made a good game.
Whoa!
I mean, if you dig in the internet,
you can say a lot of things.
You can find any shitty opinion. Am I right?
You can say anything you want, really. No one's fact checking us. But yeah, I'm really excited about Batman without Batman and Court of Owls and the Talons and stuff. It
Absolutely,
looks like
absolutely. All right, Chris Davis.
All right, for mine. First off, I want to give everybody a peek behind the curtain. So this morning we were discussing, what our top threes were going to be, and people were trying to guess as to what everybody was. And Nolan decided to pick the list for Chris and I. Mm-hmm. And I was a little perturbed.
So Nolan's like, I got you covered, fam.
I was a little perturbed.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't 100%, but it was pretty close. I don't remember what the third thing Nolan said for me was, and I was kind of like,
on both of y'all.
Yeah, you were pretty accurate there, but I have since thought about that list, and I have made significant modifications.
Is he going off the rails?
Oh, no.
I am going off the rails. My first pick that I want to enlighten people about is...
Better not overlap, Chris Davis.
Is Cyberpunk Bartender Action Nirvana.
What the fuck?
God.
No, we have to talk about real video games.
Nirvana is the sequel to Valhalla, which came out 5 years ago.
This guy and his visual novels.
It is a visual novel series. The idea is that you are a bartender at a cyberpunk city bar, and you are making drinks and talking with people.
Going for the deep cuts.
And the stories that come out of this and the dialogue is really, really, really good. I cannot emphasize just how good Valhalla's story and characters are. It was so.
How often do the people at the bar go into T poses and crash the game?
Well,
it's Cyberpunk, right? That's what you said.
I mean, it is Cyberpunk.
You said Valhalla.
Genre.
That's an Assassin's Creed game, Nolan.
Oh, sorry. So
how often do they go into T poses
and hide in there?
I saw a guy at a T pose in Valhalla the other day.
Valhalla was on my top 10 that year, maybe in my top 5, if I recall.
It was. It is. It will forever live.
The way you talk about it, I sure hope it was
really
number one.
But also, the story behind the development of this game is almost as interesting as the game itself. Like, not to go into too many details, but the main developers of this project, both projects, they're Venezuelan, and they had to escape the country in order to actually continue making the project. But they've delayed it because they're worried about their fucking families and retaliation back in that country.
That's intense.
Yeah.
The Venezuelan government hates cyberpunk or something.
They hate when people leave their country.
Yeah, but sorry, I can't ask you more questions about this because it's going to end up going down a rabbit hole.
There's rabbit.
That's intense though.
But I encourage you, Valhalla. It's a great 10 to 15 hour game. Great chip music.
You are now pitching a 5-year-old game.
I am pitching a 5-year-old game because none of y'all.
We're talking about the future, Chris Davis. You're talking about 5 years in the past.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to give y'all a foundation for this game, and let me tell you.
For what it's worth, I have heard a lot of good things about that game as well.
It is well worth everybody's time. And
I'm pretty sure I own it somewhere. I just don't remember where.
Yeah, they recently released it on like PS4 and Xbox, like Switch, I think as well.
I think I might have got it as like a PlayStation Plus game.
I hope you like reading.
Real quick, and sorry, I know this is kind of chaotic and all over the place, but I feel like when possible, especially if something has a release date, we should be sure to mention it. I don't see a release date for this particular game, but
that's because
Nick. That's because it's N1RV and a. You know,
no. I see it on the list.
Nirvana.
Well, I'd say maybe it's worth it if it's coming out in the next couple months. Otherwise, this shit's so up in the air. Who cares?
Well, no, it was supposed to come out this year, and until like December 1st, they were adamant that it was going to come out this year, but they had to delay it. But chances are, it's probably a spring game.
All right, I am opening the trailer for this game.
Than a normal show, but now I'm worried.
Dude, I told you.
So let's.
I'm opening the
along.
trailer for this game.
No, we need to move on.
No. I'm so I can watch it during the break.
Okay.
I'm because that's our handy list here has trailers for everything. It's a thing of beauty.
For this Valhalla sequel.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Well, have you read a book? It's like reading a book, just words.
I don't like reading.
Do you have something against reading?
No, it's funny. It's one of those. We every time we think we have Chris Davis like figured out, he hits us with a 13 Sentinels or a whatever.
No. I'm putting rant start now. Listen, motherfucker. I'm tired of Chris Davis owning this game. Just because he plays games as fast as Prince of the fucking Universe and he has more free time than me. I was the person who've been following this game since its announcement. I'm the first one who played it and brought it up on the podcast. This motherfucker swoops in, finishes it in a fucking weekend and won't shut up about it. Listen, he does not own this game.
I refuse to believe
he might literally own it, but he does not.
I would like to congratulate Chris Davis on owning 13 Sentinels.
No, he does not get
I
to.
just rim.
I would say in our ever-changing media landscape, do any of us really own any game?
Touche. Also, thanks for being such a downer, Crispy.
Y'all think there's a fucking Godzilla in the game or something, and that's why it's so super Chris Davis-y, but there is no Godzilla in the game.
Sadly, there is not, but there's a really fucking great story to it, and you really should fucking finish it.
What? I'm working on it, dude.
My first game, most anticipated game of 2021, is Resident Evil Village. Do you know why I'm excited for this game? Other than the obvious, because I do love Resident Evil. It's a fantastic series with a lot of variety in it. This game looks like the love child of Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 7, and that in and of itself is amazing.
Why does it look like that to you? Because it's a village.
I mean, a lot of the setting.
First person?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff we've seen in the game so far takes place like during daylight in this snowy mountain village, and it just reminds me I've played Resident Evil 4 like 5 or 6 times. There's nothing past the village that I love as much as the village. I mean, that game has a lot of variety in it, and I like a lot of that game, but like the village, like when you enter that village at the beginning, like that part is like burned into my brain. And the fact that this game is called, I know this is probably a little misleading, but it's called Resident Evil Village. Like the village itself is going to be a character in the game. It's going to play a major role in defining what this game is. If they can make a whole game that kind of has that vibe of the intro of Resident Evil 4, with like while also introducing a lot of the variety and stuff and like the horror elements of 7, like man, this has so much potential to be like my favorite game in the series.
Look, you know why there's
werewolves.
This was almost a pick for me because there's werewolves and snow and witches and stuff and a castle. This almost feels like Castlevania to me. I'm super stoked for this,
dude. And the only other game in the series, in the Resident Evil series, where I feel like they went, batshit crazy with enemies the same way was 4. Like I feel like the werewolves and the witches thing fits best in the kind of vibe and setting they establish in 4. So everybody loves 4. Everybody talks about 4 being like the best one, like a game of all time. I certainly don't disagree with it. It's not my favorite in the series, but I do totally get the argument. So I don't know. This is a chance for them to kind of find the best of both worlds, because I adore 7 for reasons you've heard me talk at length about for ages. So like if they could find a happy medium between 4 and 7, I'll be so happy. I'm still kind of bummed because they haven't said a damn thing about VR. But I don't know. I don't think that'll be a game changer. I'm looking forward to playing it one way or the other.
All right.
And also, if it has any like open world elements at all, like if it's like fully like the village can be explored and in different. Oh man, it can
now you're just dreaming out loud.
I am.
Yes, I am dreaming out loud.
That would be cool.
Brad, and also Chris Redfield makes the right decision.
My second most anticipated game, with some exceptions of no overlap, is Final Fantasy 16. I got really excited thinking about
What's this one, Brad? I haven't heard of this one.
This is the 16th Final Fantasy game. Finally, They've made a
Is that how that
16th
works?
Final Fantasy. Yeah. So it's been a long time since Final Fantasy, in my opinion, has been really good. And
12?
yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I think 12 was the last one I really truly enjoyed, and I feel like this one can't miss, knowing that. So I've heard endless praise for Final Fantasy 14. I've always wanted to play Final Fantasy 14. I don't play MMOs. If I did, I would be playing that one 100%. You know, I've been in love with Final Fantasy 14 since Final Fantasy 11, honestly, because the Final Fantasy MMOs kind of take that more old school, like medieval fantasy, like Final Fantasy vibe, right? That's, you know, while the modern ones are just weird, you drive a car around, and that's really exciting. And a lot of the talent who worked on Final Fantasy 14 is, you know, working on this game. So I can't really experience that because I won't play Final Fantasy 14. But if I can experience like the qualities of Final Fantasy 14 in a single player Final Fantasy game, especially when all those guys are already like inspired by Matsuno's stuff from way back in the day, like I'm really fucking excited for this game. We can be proud to be Final Fantasy fans again. Maybe.
Okay, let's not jinx it, Brad.
I'm not.
Anything can happen.
The combat still looks a little too much like Devil May Cry, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of ways they could screw the pooch on this one.
Of course.
Did we not put Final Fantasy
kind of look bland as fuck?
Did we not put Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth
Remake 2?
I don't think they're going to call it Remake 2. I think it's going to be something like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth or some shit like that.
Or they're going
to is that not worthy of this list? Is there any chance that
there's
that comes
no
out
way
this
it's coming out in 2021?
I know.
I mean, but to be honest, again, kind of like what I asked Nolan earlier,
project.
Brad, in your heart of hearts, do you think Final Fantasy 16 will be out this year?
16? Yeah.
I mean, it's weird because they just announced it last year.
No, but there's been rumors floating around that like this project is a lot further along than you'd think.
No, I know. I mean, and
like when they showed off that game, they were showing like in-game
lots of different areas. It was definitely in-game footage. Yeah. It wasn't like some glitzy cinematic trailer. Yeah, it didn't seem like they threw a trailer together. It definitely seemed like they were showing a lot of gameplay.
I will say this: when we first talked about this after that announcement, I was kind of down on this just because I didn't feel like the trailer didn't do much for me the first time I watched it, but I have since watched it like 2 or 3 more times, and the more I watch it, the more I start to get the itch of excitement. And it reminds me of, and 12 is not my favorite Final Fantasy either, but it does represent the last time I cared about like the world and the characters and the story in a way. Like 13 and 15 obviously just didn't grab me for those reasons. And if this one can kind of rekindle that element of the series, then
I want party members that aren't human. That is what I fucking want.
They didn't show many of those in this trailer either.
And that's something I called out when we first saw it. And that's something that I fucking hope changes, that Final Fantasy... What's up?
Does Final Fantasy 14 have much of that? I know that they...
I'm pretty...
Eventually...
I think they've got like half a dozen races that are not human.
Okay.
Yes. But this is not an MMO where everyone has to maybe follow. You can fucking do whatever. Like, give me fucking alligator people. Give me lizard people. Give me fucking bunny
Quinia?
people.
Quinia?
Sure, whatever the fuck that thing was from 9. Give me that.
Cook.
Yeah, the cook person. Give me
we're
fucking
likely to get some...
Why do they have to be human people? Why?
I don't know.
It is
Remember in 12 when
fantasy. It is fantasy. Why does it have to be so fucking down to earth?
Well,
remember in 12 when like when the most out of the box character was like the human lady with bunny ears, Fran?
Hey, she was awesome though.
No, she was great, but like that was about as far out there as it got.
Okay, first of all,
like,
don't talk shit about Final Fantasy 12 because they had a lot of cool races in that game.
I just finished saying that 12 was like the last time I truly loved the series. So what are you going to tell you?
Kamari.
That was 10.
Give me a party member that's like a fucking cactar.
I mean, let's be honest. The way they've approached character design for like party members has not been the same since the PS1 era. It just hasn't. Even 10.
In Final Fantasy 8, Renoa has an attack where she shoots her fucking dog off an arm-mounted like boomerang, like fucking crossbow thing.
I forgot that
Give me
existed.
that shit.
Make Final Fantasy weird again.
All right,
Yes.
Nolan, what is your next most anticipated game?
I don't even remember. I got to pull up my list real quick. Ghostwire Tokyo.
There we go.
I'm excited for that one. It's spooky. I don't really know what to expect. We've seen the one trailer from it, which didn't really have a whole lot of gameplay.
Two trailers.
It did. No,
you're right.
The second trailer did have a lot of gameplay. It's hard to tell how that translates, but it looks like it's probably going to be like fun to play, and like that studio makes games that are fun to play. So,
well, definitely. I mean, the two past games they made are Evil Within and Evil Within 2, which are both fucking fantastic games. Yeah. So definitely coming off of those, I am excited for this. I don't really know what else to say besides if you've played either of those, Evil Within 1 and 2, like you'll know how fucking good this is probably going to be. What's up?
Here's the only issue I have with Tango Game or with Ghostwire Tokyo right now, because obviously I was very excited after it was first announced. But like, if you watch the first trailer and you watch the latest trailer, they almost feel like two different games. Like the first one feels very like the first trailer hints at like being kind of like a horror, like spooky kind of game, and the second game makes it look like an action game, straight up. So
yeah, that's being very reductive. First of all, I mean there were two. One was a gameplay.
They have totally different tones. I mean, like
yeah,
like one
but like also. It might have been a lot of action, but it definitely seemed like some wild shit I've never seen before. Yeah. And that's why I think Ghostwire Tokyo is exciting.
I know,
but it was
another horror, Japanese horror ghosts or whatever might be cool or whatever. But we've seen that shit so many times before. I want them to get wild.
Evil Within had like a big focus on like gunplay and shit. I mean, that was definitely for what it was, an action game. There was plenty of action of you doing like combat in that game. It wasn't first person, it was third person, but still, like there was plenty of it. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game has a bunch of combat, and maybe they are showing the combat to entice people who aren't familiar with Evil Within to want to maybe play this game.
I also want to see kind of like the structure, like how the game flows and like how you explore, or if you even do explore, and just like I just want to know what it is really. It's really hard to tell at this point, but I am very excited because I do love Tango Gameworks and I love the Evil Within 1 and 2, so we'll see.
Prince in chat saying it's probably canceled, and Zlade put an arrow pointing up. What the fuck? Listen, if this game gets canceled, you know how fucked up that would be? Because Microsoft buys Bethesda, but Sony had an exclusive deal with Ghostwire Tokyo, which is owned by Bethesda. How fucked up would that be if they canceled that game now?
It would not look good. It would look like Microsoft just fucked some shit up.
Yeah, they're not that stupid.
I don't think you have to worry about it. I don't know if it's going to be. It might be a different game by the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Microsoft would cancel a game from such a prestigious video game creator as Shinji Mikami.
Yeah,
I mean,
I could see them because of the whole like Microsoft buying Bethesda, and now they have this exclusivity deal with Sony. I could see them like, okay, you'll need to finish this quickly and get it out the door so we can. Because we own you guys now. You can't be making games for Sony. So I could see like if this game comes out in 2021 and it's not like super polished, it's going to be because of that. I feel like it's going to be like Microsoft putting pressure on them to just get it out the door for Sony so they can start making games for them,
or let alone make ports. But there was an interview a few weeks ago with Shinji Mikami, and he was basically alluding to like he is willing to come back and be in the director's chair for one more title if they get creative control of like everything about the project. But I mean, if this game does well, that could really happen.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't necessarily see this game doing well. Like Evil Within,
we know
do well.
so little about this game. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I just like
Evil Within this game. You know what you were telling me a second ago made it sound like you liked that first trailer, and then you saw the gameplay trailer, and you're like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
I didn't say fuck this amount, but I was less excited about it.
And now you think it's going to bomb all of a sudden.
You recoiled in your seat when you saw that trailer.
Evil Within 1 and 2 are amazing fucking video games. Neither one of those games did well. financially.
I think the first one did all right. They did.
The
Make
first
a
one did
sequel.
pretty good, but the second one didn't do as well as it should have.
Yeah.
Next game, Crispy. What's your next game?
What?
What's your?
Are you guys done? Can I talk about my next game?
Yes.
My next game is Deathloop.
Another Bethesda game
That has a Sony
Which,
exclusive deal.
To be fair, I'm not crazy about the whole Bethesda thing. Like, I'm kind of over Bethesda as a company, but this game I'm kind of excited for.
Well, they're published. I mean, it is Arcane and Dishonored.
Yeah,
right. Arcane, yeah.
And Prey. Let's not forget about Prey.
Arcane,
Prey too.
Arcane deserves. They deserve one more shot from me, one more benefit of the doubt. And this game, to be honest, like what I've been reading about it, like sounds really cool. It has that like Dishonored thing of trying to plan out assassinations, with like the Persona-esqueness of like you've got one day and you can't do everything, so you have to like plan out what you're gonna do that loop. And you know, doing certain objectives will block off other objectives, but the whole idea of it kind of functioning like Moon Crash did, where it's not quite a roguelike, but it does rely on repetition. Sounds really cool. It's got a cool style, like the whole 60s weird science thing going on.
I was not expecting that. Like, I feel like there was a shift in like, I don't want to say art style, but like just overall style of the game. Not necessarily aesthetically, but just the tone of the game, I guess. I felt like there was a shift from that kind of like from that first trailer to the second trailer.
Really?
Like I'm kind of watching the trailer.
Yeah, I thought
right
it was
now.
always pretty consistent.
The first one was pretty like, had that.
Maybe I'm just crazy, but this looks like to me
You are
again. This looks
crazy.
like a totally different game than that first trailer does.
You might be crazy. Not with
And
Ghostwire.
that first
I
trailer
think
was
you're
also that first trailer was also a cinematic, like a pre-rendered cinematic, and this trailer is very much in-game engine gameplay stuff. So, and pardon the pun.
The gameplay
but, like,
trailer, you do see a lot of like the color of the game.
Yeah.
But it always had that like kind of pulpy, like exploitation kind of veneer to it. Which was really cool. And I don't know, the story, like what they've told of the story sounds kind of wild. Like this whole idea of like these like crazy smart types living on an island trapped in a perpetual like party, like a party at the end of the world, they describe it.
I'm pretty sure that's a Hitman level.
Yeah. And then this dude whose name I can't remember, and I'm pretty sure it's Coal Black. It's not Coal Black, is it?
Wait, was that Get Even?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, Chris Davis.
Yeah, the only way he can get out of it is to kill everybody. So it's all about how good can you kill, but then you get the Dark Souls element of like the invasions of like, I'm gonna kill you.
So that's one of the things I'm kind of potentially looking forward to the most. Is it gives me vibes of like Watch Dogs, like invading someone's game, like just to fuck them up. Like you're not, and similar to Dark Souls too. But yeah, your only goal there is to fuck with them, and that's one of the things I'm most looking forward to. It's just
that you don't have to like create something that'll give players a rewarding experience. All you have to do is give them the ability to fuck up someone else's experience, and that's a reward that'll multiply itself infinitely.
If you're a sick fuck.
Yeah, dude, I'm watching this trailer again, and like, you definitely see like the you can see Arcane's DNA all over this in terms of just like how like systems driven and how reactive everything is together, and like combat just looks so fluid. Like and
just like the like production design of it, like the little gadgets and stuff that he has, the guns that he's using, they all like look just really distinctive and unique.
It seems ambitious, but Arcane's similar to like Tango. I don't think they can afford another flop for Bethesda / Microsoft.
No,
I'm a little worried about their.
I definitely think that I don't think this game is a slam dunk, but I think it could definitely be another like.
You mean financially?
Well, either way, to be honest,
critically, like
I think it'll be a good game critically. I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't think it's gonna like blow up any sales charts or anything. But even listening to like the pitch for the game of like how they expect you to, manipulate the world state through these different levels to set up situations, like that seems like that's the kind of thing that you hear about and it's marketing talk. But like when you get into the game, your choice is really like, do you want the red button or the blue button,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know that it's not going to be that. I have faith that I want to have faith that it won't be, because Prey was so good and Dishonored 1 and 2 were both so good. And I think they have what it takes to get
like it's
close to that. But
I feel like it's
know.
criminal that a studio that can make Dishonored 1 and 2 and Prey is somehow not one of the most we
gotta move along.
Financially successful studios.
You're right. We
gotta move on mine. No, what you guys were talking about.
No, look, this is the symptom of everybody's shit. I mean, we're just going too long.
I can't wait to see what Chris Davis's next
also we've talked
dramatic
about Deathloop a lot.
Departure from his established list was. So, what do you have for us next, Chris Davis?
Well, my next title is one that actually was on Nolan's list.
Okay, cool.
And is one of the first titles we'll be actually playing in 2021.
Ooh.
It's Hitman 3.
Mm-hmm. Man, that game's coming up fast.
That game is coming up really fast. I am almost in a media blackout about it. I am so excited to see all the sorts of bullshit that you can get into with this game. Everything they learned from Hitman 1 to Hitman 2 was a dramatic improvement, and going from 2 to 3, I can only imagine what else they're going to add to it. Oh my god!
So I hope it's similar to our Final Fantasy question. Is just make it crazy.
Not though. That's just not their MO. But you're gonna find the fun charm within those boring looking levels.
But let's not forget about the VR implementation here. Who's planning on playing? Is anybody here planning on playing this game in VR?
But that's only on PlayStation VR, right?
I think.
Yeah.
Like if that's only on PlayStation VR, that's not happening for me. So.
Well, just so you know, I did buy Hitman 2 a few weeks ago.
So the thing is, the VR is only works in the PS4 version of the game, but you'll be able to download the PS4 version even if you own the PS5 version.
That's so confusing.
And play it on your VR headset if you have the adapter on your PS5, some shit like that. But whatever. I mean, it's a new Hitman game. It's going to be awesome. Those guys know how to make a good Hitman game again. Finally.
You know what I've always struggled the most with when I try to play Hitman games, and albeit the last time I really gave it a solid try
was Absolution.
Oh, and maybe that. I mean, I had the same problem with when I played Blood Money and stuff, and it's that I'm the kind of person who likes to see an opportunity, and if I fuck it up, I can't. I'm like, fuck it, I just ruined the whole experience. I got to reload. But is that
no. Okay, first of all, we can't explain why you fucked up and why you know nothing about Hitman anymore by skipping these last two games. All I'm gonna say is correct that mistake. It's not like it was before. You fuck up in Blood Money, it's hard to recover. You fuck up in the modern Hitman games, and it's fun to recover.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. Play these games. You made a mistake. You can still correct it.
Okay.
Yep.
Also, if you buy Hitman 3, you can import all of the levels from Hitman 1 and 2 into Hitman 3 with all of, just like they did with Hitman 2, with all of the updates and everything.
I skipped straight to buying Hitman 2 on y'all's recommendation.
You don't need it's all the same game with cool new levels. It's like you
but am I missing out on part of the story?
No, you'll get the story. It'll come with all the cutscenes and everything.
Play all of it. Play all of it.
Which, by the way, the overarching story is pretty good.
What Brad is saying, Nick, is you can import if you have to own them, right, Brad?
Yeah, you have to own them.
Yeah,
but I'm sure they're going to sell some package.
If you own Hitman 1 and 2, Nick, you can import the game levels and the story into Hitman 3. So you can play all 3 games in the new Hitman game.
Here's the thing about Hitman. You're not going to play Hitman 3, really like it, and then know that there's other levels out there and not want to play them. It doesn't matter if they come from like the previous games. It's like playing Dark Souls 3 and not wanting to play other Souls games or something.
And
You're going to want to play
every
them.
level that's been made for these modern Hitman games have been very interesting, unique experiences.
Okay, all right, and like you said, Chris Davis, this is coming out January 20th. This is very soon.
Very soon.
All right, okay. My next game is gonna be I'm gonna do Hogwarts Legacy. I'm gonna be honest, guys.
It's a big unknown, but yeah,
it's a big unknown. It could be terrible, but I can't help but be. I mean, just the thought of playing an open world action RPG set in the Harry Potter universe, not just the Harry Potter universe, but like specifically at Hogwarts is sorry, forgive the pun again, incredibly magical. Like, I am so incredibly excited to play this game. I just, oh god,
I'll tell you what the best part about it is.
The studio doesn't have a track record to speak of, really.
I mean, they were,
but that doesn't necessarily mean they're not capable of delivering great things.
Yeah,
that trailer that first trailer kind of blew me away. Like, it's like kind of what I've wanted from a Harry Potter game forever. So I don't know.
And I tell you what's going to be really nice about it is that because it's set in the 19th century, there's almost no connection to the modern Harry Potter stuff. So there's a lot of stuff universe
for like 100 years.
How much do we actually know about this game? We know this is an RPG as RPG.
We know it is an open world action RPG set in and around Hogwarts. So you can leave Hogwarts and go into like the surrounding lands and stuff like that. And you play a student in Hogwarts. So you go through the Sorting Hat, put you in a house, and like that's going to dictate all kind. I'm assuming that's probably going to tie specifically into like what kinds of abilities you learn, maybe your skill trees. Like there's so much potential. Like this universe is like kind of ripe for RPG mechanics. I hope they do well.
Since it's an RPG, I'll be able to somehow become a Death Eater. That's what I'm.
There we go.
Kill some wizards.
Damn.
If
I doubt they'll let you do that.
What kind of skill trees do I have if I go Hufflepuff?
I don't know.
Not much. You're really good at Wingardium Leviosa.
What a fucking cursed thing to say.
But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
I mean, do you think as a game developer, like, there's a struggle with something like Harry Potter because the internal logic of that world is just so non-existent, like inconsistent?
Probably.
You're like,
I mean, before like on the pages of a book, it's a lot easier to you're not beholden to the same kinds of restrictions you necessarily are in a video game. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This is literally could go either way very easily. But man, I am so excited to see which way it goes.
That's without addressing.
Maybe you'll be better at.
You're absolutely right, Crispy.
Maybe you'll be better at the Hogwarts geography class than you were in Bully.
I will never live that down.
They don't live in a different planet, Brad. They just still live on Earth.
They do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, Brad, what's your? We're on the last round here. So what's your
stupid?
What's the final game you want to bring to the table here?
My final game is Psychonauts 2. A game I'm very excited about.
Really? Was that the one you told me earlier?
What did I tell you earlier?
You're going rogue. Whatever. Psychonauts 2. That's cool.
Well, I traded for a game that Crispy's going to talk about next,
and a pick to be named later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, Psychonauts 2. It's a big one for me. I'm a big Psychonauts fan. I've been thinking about it a lot lately because there's been some Double Fine documentary, or I think they did like a no clip or something. So I've been watching it. I watched that and I've been thinking about it. And Psychonauts, the original game, which was bought and canceled by Microsoft. Ironically enough, now Microsoft owns Double Fine. It's funny how that
is this game still coming to PS4 and PS5?
I think
it's just PC and Xbox now.
No. I believe it's still coming to everything. It's like one of those deals where they're going to honor the original platforms, because this was a crowdfunded game. They can't.
It's a lot of that going around with Microsoft these days.
Yeah, well, it's a crowdfunded game. I think they have to honor that stuff. But
that's true.
The thing is, like when Tim Schafer left LucasArts back in the day to like start a new studio, like Psychonauts was their first project, and he come from like making point and click adventure games, and this was like their first big game, and it was like kind of a relatively big budget like platformer, and it was kind of like rough. It was kind of rusty. It was rough around the edges, and it was their first game, and they didn't have a lot of experience. So like Psychonauts, I think is a flawed, but I think it's a flawed gem in my eyes, right? Like its strengths, it just rise above all its flaws. But like that was a long fucking time ago, and I feel like Double Fine has really grown as a company. They put out like so many different kinds of games, and now I feel like Psychonauts 2 has the chance to like be not only like the game, like the really funny creative game that the original Psychonauts was in terms of writing and tone and setting and all that stuff, but also maybe be a competent like platformer this time around. And I think because of it, it could like because of that, it could really like sneak up on people and be like this really, really cool game. So, I'm just.
It looks like this fucking trippy like Tim Burton nightmare. You know what I mean?
Psychonauts.
Yeah, I have not played Psychonauts. I have not played Psychonauts, but like I'm watching the trailer again, and I remember I went to that E3 demo, and it was the level with the teeth going into the world with the, and it's like the dentist character looks like the fucking mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas. It's cool. I don't know.
Yeah. And with all things Double Fine, there's like a ton of like really cool docs out there. I recommend watching those to get you hyped about any of their projects.
Does that have a release date yet? I don't.
What does that mean? We're talking about 2020.
I know. I'm just saying. I was wondering if they had given it an actual date.
So it was originally going to come out in 2020, and then they got bought by Microsoft, which means they probably have some breathing room now and a little bit extra money. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to be years out now. I think it's probably going to come out this year. And it's probably going to be more polished and whatnot than it was before, which is also cool.
All right, Nolan, what's your next game?
My last game that I'm going to talk about in depth that I'm excited about for 2021 is Dying Light 2.
Ah, yes.
The game that has kind
very
of disappeared
excited.
Recently.
Was that Chris Davis?
The game that's kind of disappeared recently.
Yeah, it kind of went. Kind of fell out off the edge of the world. Like
they're working on it. I mean, it's one of those things. They're going to put it out when it's ready. They're not Cyberpunk 2077.
They've also had some issues where they lost a couple of important creatives like Chris Avallone and some other dude who I think sucked or whatever.
Yeah, but that happened. Besides the point, loved Dying Light.
They're also still cranking out stuff for Dying Light 1.
They are. I mean, they're not putting out like giant expansions, but I mean, I think they're definitely still updating the game and
little bits of
they're
content.
They're keeping it up to date and making sure people don't forget about it, because there definitely are people still playing it. They do like special events and stuff like that.
They did Hellraid last year. Hellraid?
Something like that. And so I love the first one mainly for the sheer fact that you could play like the entirety of the game with other people. I think up to 4 people. And that was one of the things I loved, was just being able to explore that world, to an extent, a kind of creepy zombie world, not by yourself.
I think that game is one of the first, and for me, is kind of like the gold standard of like walking the line between a really great single player experience and having like wonderful just co-op experiences without kind of not having to have like separate modes or anything. It's just kind of like drop in and drop out. It's great. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I think.
Never mind.
What?
So like comparing this to like Far Cry, and like the Far Cry games, when you're in someone else's, you can't progress your story. But in this, if you've at least made the same story progress, you can both do a main story mission and it will continue back into your game. And I don't know why more games don't do that. And that you could essentially, play it all on your own, but then jump in, jump out, whatever, do your own thing, go back to your friend's game kind of type deal. And it would catch up to your story progress. And that was, since it is single player, technically, when you do go to those main story points, you are by yourself. But then as soon as you're back out in the open world and doing other things, you're with other people.
I'm
And that was one
watching
of the
the
things
trailer
I really
again,
enjoyed.
and man, I can't. The locomotion in that game is so good.
Yeah,
Just
the
like
the first
parkouring the
person,
shit out of the world,
yeah,
and then like knocking a zombie through a window, and like it's just,
the free running Mirror's Edge combat, but with zombies and other people. It was one of those things where we would be doing missions, and you have the ability where you cover yourself in zombie guts, so you can temporarily not be like seen by the zombies. You can kind of blend in with them. But then this one also adds new elements. I know there's the towards the end of the first game, or I don't know, towards the end, you get like the hook shot kind of ability, and they have something similar in this one, but you can also do a little bit more with it, and you have like a hang glider type thing. I don't know. It seems like they're adding a lot of new elements to the game. Obviously, new areas.
a lot of verticality in this one that didn't really was not as prominent in the first one.
Yeah, the first one had some verticality, but it was definitely a lot less vertical than this one. This one is a lot more vertical.
Do you think maybe the part of the reason this game is kind of temporarily disappeared is because maybe they're transitioning it to a PS5, Xbox Series X?
Oh, I would not be surprised at all if that was a big part of it.
Yeah,
straddling for the best. Generations.
Yeah, but I don't know what else to say. If you've played Dying Light and Dying Light, what was that DLC called? Or the expansion?
The Following?
Like or something, or...
Oh my god,
The Following, right?
Totally blanking.
The Following, yeah, The Following. I knew it was with an F. With the like the buggies and stuff. It's just one of those things where when the game came out, it was good. Then they released that expansion that was not like 2 hours. It was like a 30-hour expansion where you had a fully customizable buggy, adding updates, driving around the land with your friends and stuff. Fantastic game. I'm super excited for this one.
I can't wait till that game pops up again. Crispy, what's your last game?
My last game is something that I am actually genuinely excited for, but it's a bit of a contentious pick, and I pointed this out when we were watching the Video Game Awards, and that is Elden Ring, which won the Video Game Award for Most Anticipated Game of 2021, which doesn't make any fucking sense because Elden Ring is a 2-minute and 20-second pre-rendered trailer. It doesn't tell you anything about anything.
From the creators of Dark Souls and
George A New World from Miyazaki, Hidetaki Miyazaki, and George R. Martin. Like whatever the fuck that means, sure. And there's a night lady with a detachable robot arm that looks really cool. Bunch of monsters and people turning into stone or dust or something. I mean, it's got all the hallmarks of
awesome
of the stuff that we love about Dark Souls, and as we all know, Dark Souls is it's the best video game that anyone's ever made.
Sure.
Which that alone is just kind of like building up this huge head of steam of hype for this thing that who the fuck, we don't even know that it's like an RPG. We don't know that it's an action game.
That's what I was going to ask you. What do you think it's going to be?
I mean, I
know it's more of an RPG, like the biggest game they've ever made, RPG. We know all that stuff, right?
We don't know that.
We assume it.
We assume it, and we're probably pretty justified in assuming that, and it's really the best we have to go off. But we don't know anything.
We know stuff.
We don't know anything. We don't know anything. It's not a video game. It's a trailer with a title and a name attached that's surprising. And I think the general hope is that it's going to be basically a Dark Souls game, but like with more, whatever that means, like a more nebulous,
with a horse, right?
With a horse, yeah, ride a horse,
of course.
Which means the world's going to be bigger. Which means
Dark Souls with a horse,
more people to fight, more loot, more the stuff about Dark Souls that we like. And I hope that's what it is. I mean, if that's what it was, I think I would enjoy it immensely.
Anyone can die.
Breath of the Dark
All
Souls.
I'm saying is me saying that game is one of my most anticipated games of next year is like very true, but also what does that say about everything else going into 2021? Where like it's literally just a name. It's nothing. It's nothing. Like it doesn't. We don't know anything about it. And one of the developers on the game tweeted out after the Game Awards, like, "Oh, we'll see you in 2021." Which, what the fuck does that mean? Is it really coming out next year? And we haven't heard anything about it. Like, I don't know. I just hate the way this works.
No, Crispy, embrace it. Embrace the unknown.
But Elden Ring.
You know, I just watched this trailer while you were talking about it for the first time since the very first time I watched it. Yeah, it's a pretty good trailer.
It's good.
I watched it in complete silence, but
and if you're like I've played Dark Souls, this is giving off that vibe, and I love Dark Souls, and I like Game of Thrones, so I guess I like George R. R. Martin.
I mean, honestly, the trailer, that original trailer, gives me more vibes of like Sekiro than it does Dark Souls, just in terms of its like imagery.
See, that's the thing too. I think Sekiro's a good game, probably, but like I didn't like it.
It is.
We know
I didn't enjoy it
in the opposite direction.
Wait, what?
So,
we know it's going in like sort of a different direction than Sekiro. We know that.
we know, but remember there was a time when Sekiro was just like a name and some vague details, and we were all like, "Oh, so they're doing
Sekiro."
like
Carlos is playing Sekiro right now, and I was like DMing him and telling him he's never going to finish this.
I'm
game.
not saying Sekiro isn't good. I'm just saying
Sekiro is good. The problem is you probably spend more time in that game fighting bosses. Like if you were to break down the percentage of time of like versus another Souls game of how much time are you spent retrying boss fights versus exploring a world, like that percentage is so much more out of whack in Sekiro than other Souls games, and I kind of. It's probably why it's my least favorite Souls game.
And that's a really good point. And honestly, I think so. Is this thing with the horse is this confirmed? Is there a horse in this game?
Nothing's confirmed. There's been rumors. There's been leaks.
Nick, everything you saw in that trailer is what's confirmed.
Oh, okay.
No. There's been.
We don't even know if there's a
interviews,
horse. To be fair,
there's been interviews. Crispy doesn't know.
I do know. I was reading about it. I can't find anything of substance about that game other than like a bunch of speculation of people going like, "Oh, the dev said we'll see you in 2021, so I guess we'll see you in 2021. I guess that's when the game comes out." Like, there's nothing. It's a smoke screen. It's a big fucking lie.
Brad, have you not watched the 65-minute analysis of that Elden Ring trailer that's available?
Of that 2-minute trailer?
Of that 2-minute trailer.
And you know what? We saw leaks of Bloodborne before Bloodborne.
George R. R. Martin is attached. He's doing world building for them. What the fuck does that? He doesn't even do world building in A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
Like
he doesn't do building.
I was gonna say that the game comes out in 2021, but he's not gonna finish the world building until 2024.
But like,
the game's gonna finish the story before he does.
Like, I love George R. R. Martin and I love those books, but it is kind of hard for them to be like, "Oh, he's doing world building for this game," for me to be like, "Oh my god," because like I've seen lectures with him talking about his writing process where he's literally like, they asked me to make a map because they wanted to print a map of the world, so I just wrote a bunch of names on a map and I was just having fun with it. And then they were like, "Okay, well, what is this city?" And then I'm like, "Well, fuck, I gotta write a city now." Okay, like, like that's his whole fucking process.
It's funny, like they hired George R. R. Martin to do this, but they didn't realize this was how he writes, and now they're kind of like, "Oh God, what have we done?" Oh man,
they had to have known.
I hope we find out more about this game.
I think his
later,
role has probably gotten smaller and smaller and smaller since the project started.
You're probably right. All right, next game, Chris Davis.
Okay.
And I know what this is gonna be.
You do.
Hit us. Come on.
Really?
I do. I'm almost positive. I could be wrong.
Well, it's not Halo Infinite.
I know. That's not what I was gonna say.
Okay, good, because that was what was on Nolan's list. My pick
Wait,
is...
you don't want a game to play on your Xbox, Chris Davis?
I mean, 2. Sure. I'd love a game to play on my Xbox.
The game he's about to talk about is an Xbox exclusive, if I remember correctly.
I mean, it's Xbox and PC. And PC.
And PC.
It's S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 from GSC Game World.
Oh.
In fact, they put out a brand new trailer today. Really brief teaser showing off an emission event going on. And
Look, I know they said it was like
that sounds
in-engine
dirty
or whatever, in-engine gameplay, whatever. But that was like you weren't watching a game.
I wasn't watching actual footage. I understand that. I know that was in-engine teaser in the name.
Yeah.
But
it was basically an in-engine cinematic.
But the fact is that they were showing off what looks like an emission happening in the city. Background: an emission is a storm that happens in the S.T.A.L.K.E.R universe. It's like a radiation storm.
Yeah.
And it's when you play Clear Sky or Call of Pripyat, those were the first two games that had it. It's fucking incredible for 2007, 2008 to see.
That's what you said.
I think emissions are one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a video game. And they were showing it off in this trailer, and it looks like a hurricane's going on outside with like flashes of bright red and radiation and all that going on. It looks fucking great. But just like the idea of a new Stalker game alone is exciting, because the Stalker franchise, I'm going to get into some hyperbole here, but I'm honestly going to say that the Stalker franchise for open world games is kind of like what Breath of the Wild was for the past 10 years. Stalker was for the previous 10 years.
Whoa.
It's an incredible open world experience. Jank as it is, broken as it is, it shows off such potential for how you can make a systems driven kind of like exploratory horror game. It's really
I see where
cool.
you're going with that.
You're saying Stalker is the Breath of the Wild of the horror genre?
Of the open world genre of like the previous 10 years, like 2007.
It's an example of how to make a horror game in an open world environment, I suppose. I mean, is Stalker technically a horror game?
I would it has a good number of horror elements. It will scare the pants off you at times. But it's really more of like an exploration survival thing.
It's an open zone game.
Yeah. Imagine you're just kind of just.
The second one might be quite a bit different, especially.
Well, technically, this is the fourth game.
Stalker game.
This is the fourth game. Because there was.
Sorry, I was alluding to the fact that it's called Stalker 2. So.
Yeah. The third one was more open than the first one. The second one, only true Stalker nerds played that one.
I mean, Call of Pripyat, it's okay.
No.
I'm sorry. Clear Sky. Clear Sky is okay. I like Call of Pripyat of the three the best.
All right. Well, do we know if the people working on this game can be trusted? This could be like a Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
I mean, here's the thing about it.
Well, we don't know. I mean,
the only thing about this game,
that game, and you don't know anything about that game yet either.
I mean, the only thing.
I know. I'm saying that's why I'm worried about Bloodlines 2, because the people can't be trusted.
Sure. So Stalker 2 began development 10 years ago, okay? And then it was canceled, and everyone that was working at GSC Game World was laid off by the owner. And then he restarted the studio about 3 years ago, and hired on a brand new team. So this is potentially all new people.
Red flags all over the place.
Yeah, no, that does not sound promising at all.
Potentially, yes. But I have heard things like there may be some 4A developers that have gone back over there. And 4A was made up of former GSC Game World guys. So there may be some actual Stalker original developer DNA in there.
Hey, to be totally fair, Stalker 2 has potential to be really good, but it has just like me talking about Hogwarts Legacy, it has just as much potential to go wrong. But like Absolutely. That doesn't mean you can't be excited about it. Yeah. Like I look at footage of Stalker 2 and I want that game to be good so bad because I will play the shit out of it.
You guys aren't wrong, because we just came off of a month where CD Projekt Red put out a game where everyone thought was a shoo-in because of the developer. Same thing with like Crystal Dynamics when they put out Avengers, and I mean in BioWare when they put out Anthem. Man, it happens. Maybe you got to start trusting these.
I mean, this is all
no-name
speculation.
developers.
Like,
who gives a shit?
Any project can go any direction. Like just knowing that a particular developer is working on something doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just literally our best guess based on, you know, their history. So who the fuck knows? I hope Chris Davis is right. I hope this game turns out really well because it looks cool and it looks like a game that I would play the shit out of.
Well, it's 10:18. How many games are we gonna go over?
All right, this is my last game. This will be brief.
Sorry.
My last game, and then we'll take a break, and we'll in the second segment we will just blast through the rest of that list.
A short break.
Yeah, short break. My last game is Hollow Knight: Silksong, and I mean, come on, what is there to say about this game other than Hollow Knight is an absolute like revelatory experience, especially playing on the Switch, and you know. I'm excited that this game
playing on the Switch. That's so. You say that every time you bring up Hollow Knight, huh?
Dude. Playing that game on the Switch was
that's such like a footnote that's not necessary. It's
it was a big deal. It was a big deal for me.
What are they paying you?
It was admittedly a bigger deal for me than probably most people, but like that game, I started that game once, put it down, and then I picked it up on Switch, and I couldn't stop playing it. And it's kind of like you playing Hades uncontrollably on the Switch. It's the perfect game to play on the go, and it's the perfect game to play on that platform to me. And like it played unbelievably well. And this game is being developed right out of the gate on Switch and PC. It's like it's going to launch day and date. It's supposedly going to launch day and date on both platforms. So I'm just going to go straight in. I'm not going to have to wait around for a Switch port. But yeah, this game started as DLC for the original Hollow Knight, and then they decided to eventually say fuck it and make it into a full-blown sequel. So we're getting a full, what I would imagine is a full like another 20 to 30 hour Hollow Knight experience in a new world,
probably
a new character. You're playing as Hornet, like man, and that's all I really need to know because that game is so good.
It's
so
true.
good.
It's true that it's
Give me two.
Where someone was asking me why is this not my most anticipated game or whatever, and it's because like this is such a
it's a known quantity.
It's a known quantity. We've seen it in action. We know, and we trust the developer. It's not going to be like a CD Projekt Red. This is going to be, I mean, a cyberpunk situation.
Well, hold on, Brad. You say we know and trust the developer, and I don't want to say like Team Cherry. Like, what have they done besides Hollow Knight?
I know, but this is another Hollow Knight, right?
No, I know. It is literally just a sequel to a game that they came out with pure perfection. So why would this not be the same suit? I'm just saying. I don't want to say that Team Cherry is the best, developer out there. They've put out one game, which was amazing. It was if not my number one, it was in my top 3.
It was my number one.
You know what I want more than anything?
Team Cherry gets milkshake ducked. I feel like all the studios to get milkshake ducked would be so.
What the fuck does that phrase mean?
Milkshake
ducked. It's like when you find out that someone who just became really famous was like, fucking racist or.
I've literally never heard that phrase before. Milkshake ducked.
No one's like, I'm gonna use this now.
It's Twitter lingo.
Yeah, Twitter.
It was a comic, a milkshake duck or a tweet. I don't know.
It was a tweet. It was
a tweet.
All right.
Well,
sorry.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. But more than anything, like of course I'm excited to see like how Hornet plays compared to the first game because she's obviously going to play very differently. But like more than anything, I just want to see more of that world. That world was so incredible from top to bottom. Like I just want to see. I want to meet more characters. I want to hear more music. I want to see new places.
The music was fantastic.
That's all I care about.
Art style was fantastic. The like all the fucking the little what are they called, the badges, like everything about that game was like pure perfection. Like the only complaints people would have about that game is it's hard, but sure,
I'm pretty
some
sure
of it's hard for sometimes. That is my ideal, like I don't want to say perfect game, but it's one of those situations where they put out their first game ever and they kind of fucking hit a grand slam out of nowhere.
I think given some more time, Hollow Knight will be to me what like Symphony of the Night was to Brad.
Wait, what?
That game did more than any other game in that genre to like open my eyes to like the potential of the genre. It is.
I mean,
it's gonna be the one
impossible
I think about
unless you played Hollow Knight when you were like 14 or whatever, right? It's just. I think I know what you're saying, but
you're wrong.
Yeah.
He's like, sorry, how dare you try
I'm
to...
saying Hollow Knight, look. I will fillet Hollow Knight along with you all day long, but Hollow Knight is awesome because it may do Souls better than Souls, and that's kind of its biggest triumph.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's selling it short, to be honest.
It was my game of the year that year, of course. I mean, of course I'm selling it short. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying that I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, on that note, let's take a break.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. When we come back from the break, we are going to blast through the rest of this list. We're obviously going to spend a lot less time talking about these games, but we have we
only have 125 to go.
We have a huge list of games that are coming out in 2021 or potentially coming out in 2021, and we're gonna give each one of them a little bit of attention.
From 5 to 60 seconds per game.
Yes. So get a pen or paper, or I don't know. You can. I'll post a link to this damn Google sheet at the end, so if you want to reference it, because we have trailers and everything in there. But anyways, we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, we'll go through that list. So if you're watching us live or listening at home, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Like I said before the break, we have a long list of games to get through tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Brad. He's going to guide us through this long list. Again, some of these games we're just going to briefly mention and move on. A few of them we'll stop to talk about a little bit. But
oh man, I wanted to do it. I wanted to do a little riff on the Joe's Crab Shack thing.
Oh, by all means, take it away.
So Malia has this picture of it's like one of her birthdays, and I don't know what restaurant. It can't be Joe's Crab Shack because there's sombreros involved, but it's like her birthday, and her mom called people over, and she had to stand up and dance with the sombrero on her head because it was her birthday, and that's what you have to do at that restaurant. And she's like, look at my eyes. I'm literally, there's tears in my eyes because I didn't want to do this. Pretty funny.
and you just laugh.
Yes. It made her cry.
And it made you laugh.
Yeah, I laughed.
Yeah, Joe's, they do something like that.
A lot of places. That is not unusual. And they're all awful. All right, Brad, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, I'm letting you lead this bitch.
Oh, this is the podcast. All right, starting from the top, 12 minutes.
You did clap, right? You did clap, right?
I did. 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Willem Dafoe, James McAvoy, and
Daisy Ridley.
Some people are excited about that.
Yeah.
Wait, you were talking about a game. I didn't realize. I thought you were talking about 12 minutes into the show or something, or we have 12 minutes left.
We were all
confused. The name of a game.
Hotly anticipated indies coming out this year, I think. Right?
This is that game where you're stuck in it's like Groundhog's Day. You're stuck in the time loop. You're being murdered by a in your apartment.
Crispy's excited. Give me a nod, Crispy.
I am excited about 12 minutes. I considered putting it on one of my 3 games.
Oh, I think it's definitely something that's going to be worth checking out when it comes out.
For sure. I'm skipping over Anno Mutagen, which is not an Anno game in the way that you've probably heard of Anno games. It's some other game that looks really cool. Look up a trailer. Origami 2, don't know why it's on here. Origami 1 was okay, I guess. Chris Davis liked it. We're skipping over Atelier Ryza 2.
I told you, breakneck speed, guys.
Avowed is worth talking about, right? That's Obsidian's Elder Scrolls knockoff, published by the company that now owns Elder Scrolls.
That's a kick in the nuts, isn't it?
Weird.
This could be cool, though. It's set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, which is cool.
This is also another one of those games that we don't really know much about beyond the just those general facts right now, because all we've seen so far is a cinematic trailer. But like you said, it's an important game. It's an Obsidian game, so, worth mentioning.
Yeah. Axiom Verge 2 is next. That's a game I'm very excited about.
Axiom Verge 2 looks totally isn't it like
it's got a different visual style than
it's like snowy and I don't know. It's just
it looks very different. But like, the first one is really great, and I can't wait to play this one. Honestly,
a noteworthy Metroidvania, if you will.
Very much so. Very much so. Babylon's Fall is a myth. I don't think that's a real game. That's from Platinum
I watched
Games.
the trailer that's in the dock here today for the first time. It has gameplay in it. I've never seen gameplay of this game before. It's a Platinum Games game, which makes what I'm about to say seem shocking. It looks dull as fuck. Maybe that's just me.
I've not liked anything I've seen of this game. It also probably doesn't exist. Also, we'll talk a little bit more about Platinum Games and my fears for that entire fucking company very shortly. Still in the bees. Back for Blood. Y'all played that alpha real quick. Can y'all tell me if y'all liked it or not? Chris Davis and Nolan.
Yeah, that's my name. I think we both enjoyed it. The only downside was just that it was a single level, and obviously there's still more work to be done. But the whole card system is interesting, the deck building, so it's kind of a little bit unique. Every time you do a run, you don't know which abilities you're going to have.
I didn't even know there was a card system in the game.
Yeah, it changes per stage.
Spiritual
grows.
successor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very Left 4 Dead, and the whole card system is essentially just you choose 15 cards. When you start the game, you get 3 of them that you kind of get to choose, and then the rest of the game, every time you get to a safe room, you get 1 more card out of kind of like random, which kind of changes how you.
Bonuses.
They're perks. Like, just to quickly go over it, Brad. I know we don't spend too long on it, but it's like, maybe when you'll melee, you get some health back, or maybe your aim down sights is faster, kind of stuff like that.
For your secondary, you can use a primary, some things like that. But the game also has its own set of
extra health pack.
Yeah, but the game also. Cool. I was going to say the game also has its own set of cards for the zombies, so those have mutators, and those will change the map as well.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that idea.
The only downside is if you don't have a full party, you play with AI, and Niles is the worst fucking AI in the goddamn world. Niles is a piece of shit.
Well, we'll talk about this in depth next week.
AI is anything.
Did you get any footage of that game, by the way?
Yes, I have footage. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay, we'll talk about it next week. Next up is Ballon Wonderworld, which is a platformer helmed by the creator, or helmed by Yuji Naka, creator of Sonic and Knights. This has a lot of Knights vibes, I think.
Absolutely. It's very bright and colorful. This was also announced at, what was it, the Game Awards?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It looks a little janky, but very colorful in it. It seems like it has that spirit. Yep. Baldur's Gate 3. That's a big one.
Woo!
Larian
Dungeons and Dragons.
The sort of the anti-cyberpunk. It's the big RPG that decides to come out in early access, and everybody's kind of sad about that because they just want the game to be out. But the result is probably going to be a very polished final product that's going to most certainly be great, right?
I think that's a safe assumption.
All the feedback that I hear about the early access and all the updates has been great.
I'm kind of on media blackout on that game, which is weird for a game that's like out in the wild right now. I just I don't want to see much of it until it hits.
Yeah, there's only the first.
Until you decide not to play it in 2 years.
Bitch, no.
He called you out.
Visage was in early access for 3 years, and I just played that this year, and it's probably
but that's a 12-hour horror.
Baldur's Gate 3. Nick.
Subnautica is another early access game that I played the shit out of.
Nick, you're missing the point.
This is a CRPG.
This is Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
I could see Nick playing it, but if
because of his love of the source
to take a side on that hot dog bed, it might be Crispies. Just saying.
Fine.
Get out of here, Nick. You're not allowed to have fun.
Battlefield 6 is, I guess, going to be a Battlefield game.
Yep.
Okay, Bayonetta 3. This was announced with a kind of a crazy little teaser trailer years ago, and we've heard nothing since.
We got an update like 2 days ago that the game is progressing nicely.
Okay, we've gotten that update here and there, over the past few years. I still worry about it a little. Platinum Games. Remember, so Nier Automata came out in 2017, right?
Yes.
Right? Early 2017. And they said, Platinum Games come out and says, oh, thank God Nier Automata was a success because we probably wouldn't have survived after this whole Scalebound failure, right? What the fuck have they done since Nier Automata? Nier Muddy can't carry them for 3 fucking years. They need games to release. I'm starting to worry about them. I really am.
I don't know, man, but
why have we not seen Bayonetta 3?
I have no. It seems like it shouldn't be a game that takes this long to make. Maybe this is like super ambitious somehow, and we just have no idea.
Well, if you want to answer that question, Brad, the answers are 2 mobile games and Astral Chain.
Well, here's the real question, Brad.
Here's
the real question.
Canceled, or one of them. Yeah,
that game is pretty tough, and one of the ways that you can kind of make it easier on yourself is you can practice the moves during loading screens. But there's no more loading screens now on new consoles. When are you going to practice the moves?
There was a recent. In Bayonetta,
artificial loading screen.
You can press a button to stay in the loading screen. So,
okay,
that's funny. Artificial loading screens. I like that.
Yeah, games do that. Well, the next, speaking of shit that isn't real, Beyond Good and Evil 2.
I like how in the cause for hype column, someone put Michel Ancel is gone.
Yeah, I mean, look, this thing wasn't ever coming out with Michel Ancel at Ubisoft. Now he's like, then all of a sudden he's like, I'm gonna go like live on a nature reserve, and then like a day later they're like, oh, actually he was a scumbag.
Yeah, they milkshake him.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody else high up at Ubisoft, he was a shithead, right? That's just how it goes. But I mean, whatever. That game is fucking fiction. I guess Joseph Gordon-Levitt and you are gonna finish it. So
maybe Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to suddenly go through like these major shifts, and it's going to just become this like straightforward sequel to Beyond Good and Evil 1.
You can't name a game that I believe exists in some sort of tangible form less than Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Okay. Fair enough. Next game.
Star Citizen will come out before Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Which is comical because someone put this on a list of games that might come out in 2021. Not happening.
Well, I think they put it on there just to troll me.
Probably.
Biomutant?
Biomutant.
Speaking of games that should have come out 4 years ago.
And again, cause for hype. Someone put customize your own furry in an this game was one of my favorite games of E3 the last time I went to E3, and it has such personality and so much potential, and it could be so cool, and the world has such charm. It also could go sour.
Yeah, it could be a boring little like
It could be, but God, I want to find out.
Okay. It fails in an interesting way. I hope it's not just like kind of mediocre.
I don't know. The demo they set up played really well and was paced really well, so I don't know. I don't know how that's going to translate to a full game necessarily, but I'm ready to find out because it's really cool.
Still in the bees. I put Bannerlord on here. I guess Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. It came in early access this year. It definitely didn't feel like it was, a finished game or anything, and they've been working on it a lot. Really, I'm just waiting for like the cool mods, but I'm sure we'll see something in 2021. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. This is the spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio from the Lethal League people. That's cool. People like Jet Set Radio, and they got the composer.
I watched that trailer today, and I was like, this is just straight up Jet Set Radio.
They got that composer, but didn't he also get Milkshake Duck too?
My God.
I don't know. Something weird on Twitter account happened. Bravely Default 2. That's coming out in February, I think, right? For the Switch. I feel like Bravely Default was like people were excited when that came out, right?
I played that game for 30 hours.
Everybody played it. And then Octopath Traveler came out and everyone sucked that cock real hard, which is great, And then now but they did.
You can't tell from his tone, but it sounds like Brad may just not like Octopath Traveler.
Well, it's weird because it seemed like sub Bravely Default to me in the first place, which it's was from the same people, I guess, right? And now Bravely Default 2 is coming out, and no one gives a shit about Bravely Default, even though it's coming out on the Switch, and it's probably going to be better than Octopath Traveler. So
the fact that it's on the Switch, I think it means it's going to do better than it would by just by
But
default.
no one's talking about it. It's coming out soon, and the Switch doesn't have jack shit. So maybe
I know. So people are gonna be looking for something to play on their Switch, and they're gonna flock to Bravely Default 2.
Do you want to talk about Chernobylite?
Did you skip over one?
Yes, I skipped one. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, nobody cares about bright memory. Chernobylite. I mean, what do you want me to say about it? It's a survival horror first person game set in Chernobyl.
Kind of like Stalker.
Cool.
Yeah, but it's made by the Farm 51, the guys that made Get Even.
Oh, but the map is made from 3D scans of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, which any of us have seen.
I just want you to know that I'm assuming people read this in this doc and assumed that Chris Davis was writing it, but it was me. I wrote that. But while I was writing it, I was thinking, if anybody is in this doc right now watching this get typed in, they're like, Chris Davis is writing this.
I saw this list for the first time 4 hours ago.
I apologize earlier for saying that Octopath Traveler sucks cock, as if sucking cock is like some sort of bad thing. Octopath Traveler is just bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'd probably do the former.
Brad got milkshake duck.
Yeah. Sorry. The next game is Chicory: A Colorful Tale, which is a game I was accused of not knowing much or caring about, Nolan.
But I didn't say you didn't know about it. I wasn't sure if you were going to care about it because, in my opinion, what I've seen of the game does not yet excite me.
Okay, and I played a demo of it. I mean, the way
it seems like it's a game where you
shit.
It seems like it's a game where you just press A and the game happens. That's what it seems like to me.
So, but it does seem pretty charming, and given that the people working on this are people who worked on Wandersong and
which was great,
Night in the Woods,
which was great,
tells me that charm might carry this game a long way, even if the gameplay isn't like super deep or anything. I don't know. We'll see. I am kind of interested in it. Chivalry 2 is coming out next year.
Yep.
We're living in a post. Wow, what was that Chivalry clone game?
Mordhau.
Mordhau World. Mordhau. Do people still care about Chivalry?
Yeah, they do, and they're really interested in.
Remember when the Chivalry devs came out with a game that was like different and like a different setting, and it was all like crazy, and like no one cared about that game? What was it called? Like Mirage something? That was kind of sad that no one cared about that game. But they're doing Chivalry 2, so that's good.
And it's a full single player campaign too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Crimson Desert, the new game from the Black Desert people, it's a single player RPG that looks like it runs like crap.
It's that game they announced at the Game Awards where it was like, oh my god, this looks incredible, but it probably runs like dog shit.
It's the one where I watched the trailer and I'm like, no, this runs like shit. And you were like, it's probably just the stream. And I'm like, no, it runs like shit. And you looked up the video and you're like, I think it runs fine. But no, it looks bad.
It was definitely chugging in the footage they recorded.
Oh, it will make sense because it looks beautiful.
Sure, but if you're gonna if your game reveal is gonna have footage of the game running like shit, that's probably not good, right?
It's not.
You
definitely not a good thing.
The most polished part.
Not defending it in any way, shape, or form. Just pointing it out.
Chris Tells is a indie game that looks really nice that I think people have been waiting for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's
has time mechanics.
Chris Tells.
I like time mechanics.
Yeah, there's an interesting time mechanic, not only inside or in the game, but inside battle as well. The way you interact with the world, and you kind of can go back and forth in time to reveal secrets and find things and get hints and stuff is pretty interesting. The demo was pretty cool. It didn't seem like the demo's out there. I was trying to find it.
On the Switch?
Oh, it was on the Switch? I played it on PC.
Check the Switch. I think the demo's on Switch. Cyber Shadow is a very generically sounding game. It does look a lot like The Messenger, published by Yacht Club Games, the creators of Shovel Knight. And it's one of those ones where I glance at and I'm like, okay, whatever. But then I really started paying attention to the trailer and I'm like,
trailer's pretty cool looking.
This looks like it's probably going to be cool.
It's got a tragic name, but
yeah,
but whatever. That's not everything.
Darkest Dungeon 2. This one is very exciting for me because not only do I love that first one, but I think this is going to be like a pretty ambitious departure from the original. It's not just going to be more Darkest Dungeon. This isn't like a Spelunky 2 situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they bring the strengths from Darkest Dungeon and over into something new, like that could be really exciting. I know Crispy's
I picked up Darkest Dungeon for the first time because it was free on the Epic Game Store last week. So
Oh boy, I hope you stream a bunch of that.
I can't wait to not play that, but I have it.
I saw footage of it yesterday in a video where somebody like reviewed like 25 roguelites or whatever, and just seeing a snippet of footage, I was like, oh, Darkest Dungeon, it's such a beautiful game. It's
so good.
Deathloop we talked about.
Oh, people are saying I should stream that. Is that a joke? Should I not stream that?
No, do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of. Why don't you?
Honestly, Nick, I think streaming a game like that would be nothing but beneficial because chat could help you out in a lot of situations where that game is quite difficult, and on your own it might be very frustrating. But I think if you're streaming it, they could give you like, hey, try doing this, or this is in this situation, maybe go this way, because I think it would help out a lot and maybe ease some of the frustrations of that game.
I agree with all of that. Also, the new Hitman game comes out in 20 days. Stream Hitman 1 and 2. Yes. Deltarune Chapter 2. I know this is the successor to Undertale. It's episodic, and people liked that first episode. Chapter 1 came out a couple of years ago, so I guess people are excited about Chapter 2. The music is probably going to be pretty good.
I thought it came out this year.
Destruction All-Stars is a game that I don't think anybody cares about, but now it's going to be part of PlayStation Plus. It was going to be a $70 game that they delayed it and decided to make it part of PlayStation Plus in, I think, February. So that's cool. Just don't call it Twisted Metal. I know there's cars, but don't be rude. It could be cool. You can get out of the car and like run away or something. Diablo 4. Are we going to see Diablo 4 next year, you think?
Nope.
No.
We will see a trailer.
They put out a statement recently because BlizzCon's coming up in February, and we're very sure to temper expectations about seeing Diablo 4 in the next year or so.
Oh, wow. Do we even trust certain parts of Blizzard anymore to make us the Diablo game?
Now we have to worry about trusting certain parts?
I don't know, but they've been putting out regular dev updates on Diablo 4, and they've been talking a lot about what is it that people like about Diablo 2 versus Diablo 3? Where are we going with this game? Like, it's pretty insightful. I think they have an idea of what they're doing.
Well, also, isn't Blizzard having a lot of employee trouble? Like people are leaving, and
Blizzard in general has just been a little bit of a mess, but
yeah.
To say the least,
it's not likely we'll see it next year. But
as far as what they said about BlizzCon, they know what happened at the last BlizzCon when they announced the last Diablo game. They're being very careful about what they say from now on with their PR.
I will be there for Diablo 4. I'll say that. Disgaea 6. I liked the first one a lot.
I've never played any of them.
My roommate was obsessed.
I don't think anybody here has played any of them, but that's
my roommate who doesn't really play video games.
I played the first one way back when.
Really? Yeah. I mean, that first one, I think Disgaea is extremely fun and funny and cool. Their commitments, and for whatever reason, I own all of them, but I only played that first one. DNF Duel is a new Arc System Works fighting game that is not that Square Enix crossover Final Fantasy fighting game that I'd rather them make.
Wah wah.
Dragon Age 4. Or
I don't think this is coming out next year.
Okay, but it is. We have now seen 2 trailers of Dragon Age, whatever the fuck this is. So it's got to come out eventually.
We saw an announcement cinematic trailer, and we saw an announcement environment trailer.
2 announcement cinematic trailers.
If we had seen a taste of gameplay, I'd probably be like, maybe.
Footage. It looks a little bit like Dark Souls, kind of. Who knows what that means? BioWare is not a company I trust anymore. So I like to put. It is fucking sad, but it's true, and it's sad, but I don't even trust CD Projekt Red anymore. So I don't know who to trust. I'm scared. Okay.
Don't trust anybody, Brad. Don't trust anybody.
I read half a dozen Dragon Age books. Okay. I used to really care about this series.
Close off your heart to everything good in life.
Video game books. I'd never do that.
Brad, going back real quick to Disgaea, I don't think I ever played a Disgaea game, maybe one of them, but I definitely played Prinny, Can I Be the Hero on PSP. That was a pretty good game.
Charm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, okay. We talked about Dying Light 2. We talked about Elden Ring. Everspace 2. That's a space game that I hear is pretty cool. Space, like a space sim game. Hook up your HOTAS.
Open world spaceship RPG.
Yeah, I guess the first one wasn't an RPG, really. I mean, I guess maybe all of them are. I mean, I guess, look, open world space sims, that's just kind of a thing. Everwild.
This is that really
it is, but it's a rare game.
Yeah, that's that one that
Microsoft. Take it away, Chris Davis.
I have no idea about this fucking game. I'm not even certain it's going to be out.
That one that looked.
There's the cinematic trailer, to my knowledge. It looks like it could be interesting, but I mean, I haven't really seen gameplay, so I don't know.
I mean, this is that one where it was like the way they were talking about it after they announced it seemed very like, okay, what even is this? Because at first glance it looks like, oh, this is like some like action adventure game, like and maybe an open world type thing. But then it's kind of like, is this like a multiplayer focused game or what? Because they've been very coy about what it actually is.
Yeah, we don't know. We'll see. It looks nice. It's rare. That's kind of curious. Someone in chat just typed the words Mercury Steam, and now all of a sudden I'm filled with dread, because if there's any project out there where we don't know really who's making it, it could be Mercury Steam, and that's like fucking Russian roulette, man. It's scary.
They're working on something.
Wait, who are you? Oh, anything? You're saying we don't know what they're working on?
Making something, right?
They're working. They're actively destroying someone's childhood memories right now.
It's probably Brad.
I can't believe they did Castlevania and Metroid. It's like okay, Evil Dead.
They're making Final Fantasy Tactics 3.
Yeah, right.
They're coming for everything you love.
Evil Dead the game.
It's like Dead by Daylight.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Supposedly has Bruce Campbell do the voiceover.
That's
okay. Sure.
Evil West.
So Evil West, I watched the trailer for Evil West today again. This game actually looks like it might be pretty cool because it's like
dark, whatever it was.
I've always liked that like the horror western aesthetic, but it's kind of like I don't want to use the word open world, but it's like kind of an isometric almost twin stick shooter, but it's also like an open world RPG, so you're walking around talking to people and doing quests and stuff, but like it's got this like cell shaded like art style and stuff, but it's it's like a horror western, which all those things when they come together are kind of unique. I don't know.
Nothing gets Nick wetter than open world, but saying Destiny drives him up. I'm sorry, Fable.
That's not 2021.
Who yeah,
I'm gonna take that poster back, right? I want to be excited for Fable. Also, not coming out this year. Almost.
But Microsoft has to have something next year besides Halo, which was supposed to be.
Hellblade has a better chance of coming out next year than Fable. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a good possibility there. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no way. I will make a hot dog bet right now that Fable not coming out in 2021.
Who here is excited about Far Cry 6 besides what Nick is about to say?
Fuck Far Cry.
I'm not saying anything. You just asked. I raised
my
hand.
All of us here have played and enjoyed Far Cry games. Who is excited about Far Cry 6? It has Gus Fring in it. Go.
I don't know. We'll see.
Here's the thing. Nothing about what they've shown of the game so far, which is basically just a cinematic trailer and the reveal of Gus Fring, as you put it, is what has me excited. What has me excited is just what Far Cry is, historically speaking. Most of the games they've put out since 3, I have really enjoyed. 5 was the one that kind of went off the rails, especially at the end there. But it has a good track record for me. So in that sense, this is the first Far Cry on new hardware. So yeah, I'm excited. I hope it's more ambitious than the last few have been. I'm not really holding my breath, but
speaking of Moff Gideon, dude, let me Have y'all seen Do the Right Thing? I'm sure Crispy's seen Do the Right Thing. Do you
I have
know
not.
that he's in that?
Yeah.
That it does not look like Giancarlo Esposito, or it's a movie that I've seen a long time ago, and it's a movie that my brain is so far removed from like Breaking Bad that when I saw him, it didn't look like John. They didn't even look like the same person. It's crazy.
Sure.
They sound the same. They don't look the same. It's insane. Now I know they were like many years apart, but it's crazy to think that that's the same actor. It's crazy. Anyways, Fights in Tight Spaces, deck builder tactics game, kind of like that John Wick game looked a little like that John Wick game where you're like fighting in a tight space.
I remember nothing about this game.
Yeah, me neither.
I got nothing.
We talked about Final Fantasy 16. We talked about Ghostwire Tokyo. Gloomwood is a game that looks cool.
Yes.
It's not from the makers of Dusk. It has one of the people, but it is definitely not only his project.
This is a spiritual successor to, like maybe Thief more than anything.
Yeah.
While Dusk was more of a spiritual successor to like Doom, I guess, right?
Yes.
So, but yeah, that demo was really cool.
Quake,
So I'm very excited to play the full game.
God of War Ragnarok.
So they seem to be heavily indicating that we should be seeing God of War Ragnarok before the end of 2021, which is crazy to me because God of War does not feel that long ago. But
wait, what? The reveal trailer literally showed 2021 at the end.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. So, I mean that is one way of heavily suggesting
it's probably
it's going to be like a October-November game,
and it will
absolutely
probably. But they said 2021, so it's worth bringing up here. This is just going to be a continuation of that last game, right? In terms of story and stuff.
Yeah, I don't even think they really.
No one had it on their most anticipated, but it's probably we all believe it's not going to make it.
I thought
for
about
me, it's a known quantity, Brad. Like I loved the first one. I'm sure this one's going to be good too. So
I don't even think they need to. There's much they need to tweak or change in terms of like feel or even approach to the world design in that game. I just kind of want more of it, and I want to see how that story continues. Like. Which is probably a good reason as to why they were able to make a sequel so much faster than I think a lot of people were expecting, is because a lot of what they did the first time worked and probably don't feel the need to change much of it.
I also just have trouble wrapping my head around the fact that they want to release both God of War 2 and Horizon 2 in the same year. Like, I don't know.
It's not going to happen.
I just feel like one of those will have to be pushed back.
I mean, here's the thing: Sony's kind of loaded with IP, so like releasing two major IP in the same year, not really that surprising.
Also, God of War is not going to make it next year. I'll bet a huge hot dog. Goodbye Volcano High. Remember we saw a little cinematic trailer with like
Scalies,
angsty like
angsty
dinosaurs. Yeah.
Like I think the comet's coming or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if the writing's good, it could be interesting, but I don't really know what to say.
Is this the team that did Night in the Woods?
No.
I don't think so.
Basically, Night in the Wood meets Melancholia or something. I don't know what's going on, but it looks interesting. Gotham Knights. We talked about. Gran Turismo 7 has been announced.
Oh boy!
Does it still have cars?
Care about that? Still cars.
No, it's actually all about bicycles now, Crispy.
I would not be surprised.
Fuck yeah.
Graven. That's the worst name, but the best. It's the best name. This is the spiritual successor. It looks like Hexen, but like it's like if Dusk is to Quake, Graven is to Hexen or whatever, right? And or in Heretic. But like, really, the most exciting thing about that is the name. I think Graven.
Okay.
Griftlands is that Slay the Spire looking game from Clay, right?
Yes, it is Clay.
Clay makes great shit. Slay the Spire is a great thing. This has been in early access for a long time, but I guess it's on here because we assume it's gonna finally come out of early access, and I will definitely play it once it does. I think Slay the Spire, but with much more of a story.
I think there's like a more of an RPG focus to it. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of like deck building, combat type stuff. Yeah. But I mean, if you look at the track record, Mark of the Ninja, Don't Starve, Invisible Ink, They put out some bangers.
I will say, Joker in chat is confused. He thinks we skipped over a certain game, but we actually talked about it at the beginning when we were talking about our most anticipated. So go back and listen. Next up on the list is Guilty Gear Strive, which is going to be beautiful. I like Guilty Gear games. Some people in the FGC are a little worried about this one because it's so different. But yeah.
Also, isn't that using their new art style, their new art engine or something?
Probably. I mean, yeah. I mean, I believe that. The one of the big contentious things about this game is that the UI. So you know how like when you're fighting you're playing like a fighting game and it says like combo up in the corner or whatever, right? You just did a 3-hit combo. In Guilty Gear Strive, it's all about like putting that like in your face, like in the fucking foreground, so like you can't even see what's going on because they committed so much to the visual flair of like those kinds of effects. Watch a trailer, like a fight in that game. It's absolutely nuts. But some people are worried about it because of it. It visually very striking. Halo Infinite.
This did not come up in Chris Davis's top 3 there. It was originally on the list.
It was, and I would have mentioned it, but like it's more Halo. It's time for more Halo.
This isn't just more Halo. This is new. It's got to be, right? If this is just more Halo, then it's done.
The implication seems
development for so many years. This can't just be more Halo.
I think the implication seems to be that this is like, I feel like I just got made fun of for this, but like, it seems to be the implication seems to be that it's more open, like open world.
Yeah, with like submissions and objectives and things like that.
I heard it was more of a Destiny-like game.
Which, you know what? I got a boner. So count me in.
Okay, but Microsoft delayed their launch title an entire year, so I think they also know that this has to really hit. So it definitely can't just be more Halo. But
it's good that they delayed it.
Yeah. It gives me plenty of time to. It gives me plenty of time to play through the series again, which I might do. I know Zerby has been wanting me to play some co-op stuff with them. So.
I have never heard of Hellish Court, but apparently it's like Bushido Blade. Hidden Deep also seems maybe unfamiliar to me, so I'm going to move on. We talked about Hitman. Apparently it's a 2D action adventure game. Avoid getting killed by aliens. Is this like a meme game or something? We talked about Hitman 3. We talked about Hogwarts. We talked about Hollow Knight Silksong. Horizon Forbidden West. This is the one that like I was like, oh, this is for sure going to be next game of the year. But then it was like his number 7th game.
No, it was my number 3, bitch.
Oh, it was number 3. Okay. So it's not a control situation where you say you like it, but you secretly hate it.
What is with you? Why does the game that makes my number 10 be a game I secretly hate?
Here's the thing. I've never played Horizon. All of y'all liked Horizon, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How come this didn't show up in any of y'all's top 3?
Really? I mean, because there's a lot of great stuff, and to be honest,
I played Horizon like 4 years ago. It's just like it was cool then. I barely remember it.
I think Horizon is really great. It's not necessarily the thing I think of when I'm like, okay, I was ready for another one already. But I will probably be very excited for it by the time it gets there.
Quick, by the way, we're not halfway through the list.
Okay, but we're going.
No, I know. I'm just letting you know we still have more than half the list.
I will say Humanity is from the creators of Tetris Effect. It had a really weird initial trailer. I recommend looking it up. Humanity, it looks cool.
It says Lemmings with combat.
Well, I don't think we know too much about it, but
we need new Lemmings.
Again, the trailer's cool. Humankind is not Humanity and is not really something I know too much about. From the Endless Legend developers,
it's Civilization, but done by somebody else.
Yeah,
and I hear it's pretty decent. Is
it out? In Sound Mind is the next game from the creators of Night.
Isn't this that game that we played the demo of?
I played the demo of. I enjoyed the demo. I talked about it on the podcast.
Wasn't there a boss fight in like the grocery store where the mirrors and shit?
Yeah, exactly. That's the one. That's the one. It was fun, and I'll probably play that final release from the creators of Night House. I can't scroll over for some reason, but
Nightmare
House 2.
Yeah, the Half-Life mod.
Inscription from the Pony Island devs. Is that what I'm seeing?
That's what you're seeing. Spooky dungeon card game from the maker of Pony Island.
Yeah, I do like Pony Island. It Takes Two is the next game from. You didn't actually write it. It's from the creator of Brothers and A Way Out. It's his game. Fuck the Oscars guy. I like those. Well, I like
Brad. It does have that. There's a previous titles all the way on the right that shows Way Out and Brothers Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah. I will say this: that game looks to me way more interesting than what was that last game that we played?
No Way Out. I mean,
No Way Out.
We liked when they were showing off Way Out. We were like, "This shit looks dope," and then we all played it, and it was kind of fun.
It was all right. All I can remember when I think of that game is like weird motorcycle segments at the end that just didn't resonate. I don't know. Also, yeah, this game looks rad.
About like a couple maybe going through a relationship that's falling apart.
No, that's what the game's about. Is a couple and they're trying to. They each one has abilities that they can do, and they kind of have to work together to solve their issues.
Well, considering their last two games, they're both spoilers, so I can't say it, but those games don't usually have happy endings, or not traditionally happy endings. Maybe hopeful. I don't know.
This one looks a little more.
I'm playing this with Malia and
upbeat.
I'm gonna play this with Malia. We're excited because we played the last two games together, and I don't.
Cool.
Are you worried?
Well, no, I'm not worried, but it's like I don't want this to be about a game about I feel like it's going to be a Mrs. Doubtfire ending. Like, we're not going to get back together, but we're happy.
I mean, what's wrong with that? That's the real world, Brad. Sometimes that happens.
I know it's the real world, but like, okay, the lady character is also like, she looks like she might be like mixed race. Never mind. Whatever. It just seems like it's cutting close to home. It's weird. I don't like it. Jet the Far Shore is the new game from Super Brothers, the creators of Sword and Sorcery, which is an indie darling from many years ago. If you've never played Sword and Sorcery, maybe look it up. And if you do, you might be excited about their new game, Jet the Far Shore. But I don't know much about what that game is. It's got kind of a look to it.
It's just a game that looks pretty dope.
Kena Bridge of Spirits. A lot of people think that looks cool.
I'm very excited for this. It's kind of hard. This game is the one. It gives me vibes of like it's like Pikmin meets God. What's that? What was that Xbox 360 launch game? Was it Cameo? And it's giving me like Cameo and.
Okay, we don't
Cameo
want
and Pikmin vibes.
Cameo vibes. We want this to give us vibes of something much better than Cameo, but sure.
I'm just talking about in terms of like color, it's bright and colorful and
cheery.
I don't know.
Character design evokes, I guess, and the color evokes Cameo. Sure, Cameo sucks. Little Devil Inside.
Okay, this is the game I was trying to think of desperately before the podcast started because I knew it wasn't on the list. This game. Honestly, I considered putting this game on my list instead of Hollow Knight, but I couldn't think of the name. So we finally got it right before we started recording.
It did look incredibly cool when they first showed it off. I learned via like a podcast I was listening to about this that there might be a little milkshake duck going on here.
No, why?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. God damn it.
Just a heads up. Little Nightmares 2. Nick's excited about playing that, right?
Wait, which one?
Little Nightmares 2.
Yes, I'm very excited. This is one of the few games that has a launch date. I think it's coming out in like March or April.
I will very likely stream this with Malia. It's co-op.
It's got co-op, but yeah, that first game comes out in February. That first game is just oozing with like charm and but it does horror really well, but like with just like this like underlying charm that like I've never really seen in this genre of game before.
I know. I mean, yeah. I
like that other game we were talking about. This also exudes kind of like Tim Burton-esque Nightmare Fever Dream kind of horror.
Tim Burton is what you say when you can't think of the actual thing, but I know what you're talking about.
It reminds me of Beetlejuice. The characters in this game reminds me of Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Reminds you of who?
Lost in Random is another Tim Burton looking action adventure game from the Faye developer. I don't know much about this, but apparently everything's Tim Burton.
Cool.
At least, did you put that note?
I did not.
Okay.
I've never heard of this game.
For your sake, thank you. I don't know what maquette is. Maquette? Maquette? Don't know what
It's
it is.
Annapurna. It's a puzzle game from Annapurna.
Okay, well, look it up. We're gonna post a list of all this.
By the way, looking at that Lost in Random trailer, it looks like Tim Burton as fuck.
Well, Tim Burton.
In that case, I did write that note. I'm just kidding.
Metroid Prime 4. Hey, do you think this comes out? Do you think we at least see what this is this year?
I mean, here's the thing. We're either getting Breath of the Wild 2 next year or Metroid, and I think Breath of the Wild 2 is far more likely at this point.
Brad, Mercury Steam's got to be working on something. So.
No, Retro is making this fucking game.
Yeah, but Retro has just recently listed a job opening for a boss fight designer.
Okay.
So what does that tell you?
Metroid Prime 4.
Sounds like they need help with some boss fights. Whatever. But hey, whatever. I mean, Metroid. I think there's a good chance that Mercury Steam was the one working on the one that got canceled. I think that's a legitimate, actual thing, especially because Mercury Steam worked on that remake of Samus Returns, remember? Mass Effect Legendary Edition?
Yes.
Maybe it'll take us back to the time where we all had fond memories for Mass Effect.
I'm going to take this opportunity to replay that series because it's been so long.
Yeah.
I've never done a FemShep run.
You mean the only way to play that game?
I also have never done a FemShep run, but I knew how ridiculous that was to say that out loud.
What? I'm just whatever.
I did male shep.
I missed the multiplayer.
Sorry, I shouldn't have laughed at that, but
I did male ship too.
Oh my god! So y'all are not even Mass Effect fans.
Y'all are in the minority. Nolan and Brad are in the minority.
I don't think we are. On the podcast, maybe, but not
on the
podcast. I mean, I just love that boxy, stilted dialogue, though. It's so good.
Hey, I'm Mr. Mass Effect. Hey, Garrison. Oh my god! How can you even like Mass Effect? I mean, okay, you know what? Whatever. I'm guessing Robin has played FemShep.
Oh yeah, and she judges me profusely for having played male shep.
Okay. Midnight Ghost Hunt. Okay.
I played the alpha of this. What I can tell you about it is that the Midnight Ghost Hunt community are all assholes. And I was having a lot of trouble kind of picking up the game just because of the mechanics. I was trying to figure out the best way to play. And I was like, hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, I'm new to Midnight Ghost Hunt, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, fuck off, kid. Like, they're just like being dicks to me. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, I'm trying to like play this game. Like, I think at the end of the alpha, like they'd asked for comments, and I kind of mentioned, I was like, dude, like, I don't know if you're fostering like a shitty community, but I played with a bunch of assholes.
Well, there we go.
So I will say the game itself has promising. Some of the mechanics I interacted with when I played the alpha were fun. Maybe if I just play it with our community, I'll enjoy it. But randoms, hopefully, I don't know. Anyway.
We talked about Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is a little bit interesting for me. Monster Hunter Stories 1 was an RPG Pokemon-like spin-off for the 3DS. I didn't really care too much about it back then, but now that I played a lot of Monster Hunter World, I care a lot more about these monsters. So seeing them in kind of like a Pokemon form in like a RPG spin-off is exciting, especially because this one's going to be on the Switch. So I'm definitely going to try this out. We talked about whatever
Nirvana.
The sequel to Valhalla, not the Assassin's Creed one, the one Chris Davis likes.
The better one.
We talked about it earlier up. Neo, The World Ends With You is a new The World Ends With You game. I can't believe we live in a world where there gets to be more The World Ends With You, but people who love that series really love that series. None of us here have played it. I mean, outside of the 15 hours or so I've spent with it.
I've got my unopened copy that I've never played right here.
All right, Nick.
Yeah, like he had that like on his bedside table. Like he's like, I keep it right here for safekeeping.
People love
reached
that.
over and grabbed it.
The original. I hear the ports are kind of like whatever. There's a new Pokemon Snap, like an actual. Is that what it's called? New Pokemon Snap?
I think so. Yeah.
Of course.
And the cause for hype, it just says 21 years.
It's about fucking time.
21 years.
I think they missed the mark.
This game should have come out an entire console generation ago.
No, you can't demand sequels to a weird, quirky.
Yes,
spin-off.
you can. You
All right, guys.
Demand anything.
Okay, we're living in a
Keep it rolling.
Bug Snacks world. Okay, No More Heroes 3. I like that first one, kind of. The second one I didn't really like. I heard that little spin-off was kind of whatever, and I don't trust Suda in general. Sometimes he can surprise me. But maybe I'll try out No More Heroes 3.
That game is also notoriously difficult and not necessarily in a.
Which one?
I mean, I've only played the first one.
Oh,
I played the first one, but that game, I beat the first one, but man, that game almost made me break some controllers.
Devil May Cry 3 though. Oddworld Soulstorm. I like Oddworld. I think Soulstorm is what started out as a reimagining of Abe's Exodus. I think it morphed into something more.
I'm just tired of seeing that game trailer everywhere. Let's release that game.
I think Oddworld's cool. The people are food, whatever. I mean, I like Oddworld. It's got to look. The vibe of that world's always been kind of cool. But I think maybe Lauren Lanning was milkshake ducked.
Oh no! We interviewed Lauren Lanning for. Oh no!
I feel like there's creators of all these cool worlds from games in the 90s. All those people are bad now. I don't know why, but it's happened. It happened with the claymation game that Crispy likes. I mean, it just happened. I guess it's all code for fascism. Elijah. I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, you throw a harpoon around. It's pixely. Open Roads. This was announced recently. This is from the creators of Gone Home to Tacoma. Fulbright.
That could be really cool.
It looks good.
That's the one where you're trying to escape the country, right? By hitchhiking?
I think so, yeah.
Sure. This is the one that has the hand drawn animated characters, cool 3D backgrounds, and Kerry Russell and the other young actors are doing the voices. Outriders is a Destiny from the Bulletstorm developers. This one seems like it's up Nick's alley.
What are you talking about? Oh, okay, that's a joke. That's a joke.
I think some people are kind of excited about Outriders. The buzz, I think, surrounding that has been okay.
I am not one of them.
I could be pulling that out of my ass. Perfect Dark. I don't think that's going to be 2021. They just showed a title screen, right?
Yeah, I think we're a year early on that.
The most interesting thing about that is what the hell would a Perfect Dark game be in 2022? Persona 5 Strikers, we're finally getting... it was called Scramble in Japan. That's the Dynasty Warriors Persona game.
Interesting. There had to be one, I guess.
Warriors Age of Calamity. I didn't really play more of that, but if they kind of really care about the Persona universe, I think it could be kind of fun. Phantom Brigade. Y'all might not know much about it or care much about it, but this is one I'm very excited about because it's front mission, but with the combat system of Frozen Synapse, where you're kind of planning out your move at the same time the enemy is, and that's just a cool style of doing combat.
It's got a great art style to it.
It's very physicsy, so when you're slugging other mechs, they're going flying and being knocked through buildings and shit, and it just looks fucking cool. This is, I believe, from the developer of Crypt of the Necrodancer.
It is.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Brace Yourself Games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's in early access on the Epic Game Store, but not on Steam.
Yeah, it's early access, correct, but it'll probably come out next year. Pray for the Gods. Nolan?
This is that Shadow of the Colossus looking.
Well, they got sued by fucking.
Oh, they added. They had
to change. Yeah, they had to change their name. Yeah.
What a dick move! Who having the word "pray" in a title that also has 3 other words in it. What? Come on.
Especially when your game Pray.
They were sued by Bethesda, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Was it?
So they had to.
Yeah.
That always seems surprising. What was the game that had monster or Gods and Monsters? Remember how
Gods and Monsters was one.
Immortals Phoenix Rising? I thought it was because there was a movie called Gods and Monsters. No, it was Monster Energy Drink. There's a reason it's called.
Got him.
Phoenix Rising.
Pray for the Gods. I think it is already out in early access, but its official release date is I think next month or February maybe. Yeah, it's fucking Shadow of the Colossus. I'm gonna play that one when it officially comes out because I love Shadow of the Colossus.
I think Steam reviews and stuff are good for that early access.
Yeah, all the reviews I've seen have been really good for it. Yeah,
That's good.
Pragmata. There's no note. Do y'all not remember what this is? This is that Capcom game that
new IP from Capcom.
Suit, and we really know nothing about this, right?
No, nothing at all.
I don't think that's a 2021 game.
I thought maybe it was like a Koji Pro game. I think when we first saw it, but it's not. It is Capcom, but it looks cool.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see that this year. Maybe we'll get an idea of what it is.
Even Google says the initial release date is 2022.
Okay, delete it. Proteus is a Proteus, not Proteus, the game where you follow the frog around. Proteus is one of these retro style FPSs that are all the rage, like Dust. But this one it looks fucking good.
It looks pretty damn good.
I'll definitely play that when it comes out of early access. Okay, so Project Ambrosia. I thought this had a different title or something, but this is the next game from Sam Barlow, creator of Her Story, and what was the last one?
Telling Lies.
Telling Lies.
I think are both like really cool games. And this is maybe horror. I think people are predicting that it's horror.
That could be really cool. That team making a horror game,
dude. Both times when I played Her Story and Telling Lies, I was like, if this was a scary story, I would be so scared right now. Yeah. You're just typing in stuff and you don't know what you're gonna get. That's like the perfect format to scare the shit out of you. Oh man. Project Athia. This was part of that Sony presser when they first were kind of revealing their next gen, right?
Isn't this what we thought maybe was teasing Final Fantasy 16, and then that was announced as a separate project?
Is this Square Enix, right?
Yeah, this is Square Enix.
Do we know anything about this?
No, I mean, we don't even know what the title is. This is kind of what a lot of people were thinking, like maybe this is the next Final Fantasy game.
I thought I heard that a certain writer might be writing for that, but
who knows? I know I'm going back a little bit, but if y'all have seen the Project Ambrosio Steam page, it has like a couple of videos and some pictures, and the videos are the weirdest fucking things. And the description's all like blacked out, like it's redacted like data and stuff like that. Dude, it looks fucking weird.
I think the writer of Rogue One is in Godzilla or whatever.
Gary Whitta.
He is writing on Project Athia, which is I only bring up because I thought this was going to be like a Japanese developed Square Enix game, but maybe it's not. Project Mara, I don't know what that is.
This is Ninja Theory. This is that experimental horror game by Ninja Theory.
Wait, is this a real game? I thought that was just a tech demo.
No, I mean it's a game, but I don't know what style. Like I don't know if this is going to be a game in the traditional sense or what. But they're calling it an experimental horror game that's supposed to explore new kinds of storytelling in gaming.
Well, if it's Ninja Theory, I'll give it a chance.
It's horror.
2 we talked about. Rainbow Six Quarantine. They might.
No, thank you.
They might rename that.
I don't think they will.
Oh God! Ooh, I didn't think about that. Now would not be a good time.
It's a Rainbow Six game with zombies. Don't call it Rainbow
based off of a limited time mode that you could play that wasn't even that good to begin with. Like they have lost track of what the fucking Rainbow Six franchise is. Fuck them.
Well, no, they didn't. They did one offshoot experiment that took off and exploded, and now that's all they care about.
Is enormously successful.
Yeah, but it's not a Rainbow Six game.
Then they probably made from all the Splinter Cell games combined. So Ubisoft doesn't care what you think.
No, they don't. And that's what's sad.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. This is kind of very big, like Sony first party game, and
I think that'll be a big.
I heard 2021 another podcast. Someone mentioned this. I think it was Giant Bomb, where they said one of the maybe the secret things to be excited about for this game is like controller implementation because it's a party Sony game, and because there's all kinds of like cool, crazy weapons and stuff in the Ratchet and Clank universe. there might be some really cool controller stuff, and I believe that could be cool. Refactor. I don't know. What is Refactor?
We know what Refactor is.
Oh, Tetroidvania. That's right.
Can't call it that anymore, Brad.
I can't wait to play that when it finally
we can
comes
call it
out.
Tetropolis.
Tetropolis, I know.
Yeah.
I've played the first 2 levels a lot. It's pretty good.
I'll play that when it comes out. Resident Evil Village we talked about. Returnal, the new Housemarque game.
Just that weird looking game, yeah.
Bad name.
Yeah, it is. It's weird looking, but it kind of gives me like Risk of Rain 2 vibes. Not in the sense that it like, you know, it's a very different like color palette or whatever, but it's a developer who traditionally did like kind of like 2D side-scrolling, top-down, isometric, whatever stuff, right? Like kind of simple shooters, but now they're making like a 3D game, and it feels like a 2D game in 3D space, if that makes any sense, in the way that Risk of Rain 2 does. And I also kind of get like Recore vibes from it, which is a game I like. And I don't know, fuck you. Stalker 2 we talked about. Scarlet Nexus is that game that kind of looked like Code Vein, but apparently it's from people who worked on Tales. It's Namco made. I don't know. We'll see. Scorn, I think, looks stupid. That's the
agreed.
H.R. Geiger,
where they released
penises everywhere. Right?
They released a cinematic trailer and everyone was going crazy until they realized that they released gameplay footage 3 years prior, and that looked kind of bad. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
I'm very excited for this.
Yes.
Because I you know, Hellblade.
Oh, really?
Wait, what?
We don't really know what this is, though, huh?
I mean, we know what Hellblade is, and
yeah, but that first game seemed like kind of a like. Remember before that game came out, it wasn't like a AAA game. It was just like,
no, it wasn't.
This is an expensive indie game. You know?
I know, but it was also very well produced.
I know, but it was a pretty simple game, right? Like the combat system was all like one-on-one and simplistic, and then there was like some pretty simple puzzles, but like it came together because it looked beautiful and it had like these really cool character and this really cool voice acting and a cool story premise, but it was still
sometimes that's enough. Like I
know, but they got bought by Microsoft, right? They're Microsoft, which needs big first-party IP. I feel like they're positioning this almost as Microsoft's God of War. The first Hellblade cannot compete with what God of War is. And
but it could certainly it certainly has potential to become, like, if they want to pump more money into it, it certainly can become that.
It could.
That's kind of.
I think
that's what Brad's saying. Is like, is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Is this going to be another more story focused kind of like lesser in scope experience, which I don't think would be a bad thing.
It wouldn't be a bad thing, but I think people might be disappointed if it was just that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like Microsoft. I feel like you're right. I feel like the Microsoft bought Ninja Theory, I think primarily because they wanted their hands on Hellblade, and because of the potential it has to become a major franchise for them. So
it could be their version of God of War.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see when we actually get more look at like actual gameplay of that.
Yeah, that might be it might be a situation kind of like No Man's Sky, where people are expecting the world and kind of like they just kind of have to, okay, well, I guess we'll try to deliver the world, but are they up for it? You know, I mean, Ninja Theory they've been around for a while, obviously, right? But like, I feel like they were kind of like fading away, and then people like, oh no, we like Hellblade, we like you. And now people are expecting them to make the next big AAA game, and you know, that's all I was getting at.
Yeah, we'll see.
Shadow Warrior 3 looks really cool. Shadow Warrior 1
that is a game with a lot of style.
I mean, do y'all remember when they showed that at E3 as part of the what is it called? The crazy press conference? The crazy.
Mm-hmm. The Devolver press conference?
Devolver, right? And then they put some footage like afterwards, like just they started releasing gameplay. Like that game looks fucking cool. I recommend checking it out if you haven't.
It reminds me of like the trippy. This is probably not gonna land, but it reminds me of like some of the trippy like drug-induced scenes from like Far Cry 4, like where you're like shooting dudes and like they're exploding into like colored smoke, and I don't know, it's just like super vibrant and bright, and
It's bright and like there's really
pastel
cool, like,
and
enemy designs and stuff, and like the bosses and stuff look crazy. Like and the weapons look crazy and the traps look crazy. It looks good in a way that the first two looked kind of whatever. Shadows of Doubt. I don't know what this is. Open world stealth detective game. Take it away, Chris Davis.
Did somebody say open world?
I know nothing of it.
Whoa! So who put this on there? I don't know what this is.
I mean, it's probably a community member put it on.
Yeah.
It looks like voxel based, maybe. I don't know. It looks.
I may have heard it.
I'll have to watch a trailer on this one. I'm not really sure, but I like open world and I like detectives and I like the art style.
Well,
we'll see.
Don't know what Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 is, but
it's Chapter 1 of a Sherlock Holmes story.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 is a game that Nintendo fans will tell you they're very excited about, and Persona fans maybe, but I think Persona fans only care about Persona. There are Shin Megami Tensei fans, but that's not actually a huge amount of people because that's like an old series and we didn't even get like the first couple. But whatever. Some people were excited about Shin Megami Tensei 5 more than they were about 4 because I don't. Shovel Knight Dig. That one.
Noel made a noise. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I was commenting on the Shin Megami Tensei thing. Yeah, Shovel Knight Dig is the Shovel Knight where you just like dig down and stuff. Yeah, I mean, cool. Looks like it could be. It reminds me of what is that game?
Minor Dig Deep is what you're
saying. Minor Dig Deep was the one I was trying not to name, but I mean, yes, that's what it is.
Steam, from the creators of the Gunk, which we will talk about.
Yes, SteamWorld Dig.
Solar Ash is the next game from the creators of Hyper Light Drifter. If I got that right, they showed a trailer for it at that Sony press conference thing, I believe.
They did. I'm looking at it.
And it looks like it might be like a bigger in scope game than Hyper Light Drifter, but have a similar, or not a similar style, but also evoke a cool visual style. I don't know. We don't really know much about it, I don't think. But cool. You want to tell me about Sons of the Forest, Nick?
I mean, yes. I mean, it's a sequel to The Forest, and we don't really know much about.
Straight up sequel.
As far as I know, to be honest, I'm really excited about this, but I'm also like, I've been sitting on The Forest, the original, for a while now, and I'm like really itching to go and play it.
Is it co-op? Let's play it.
Yeah, I think there's co-op in it.
Yeah, it's open world co-op.
I mean, I think this one right out of the gate maybe looks a little bit more polished just immediately. Maybe like it's got a bigger budget this time. I'm not entirely sure.
The way it's been pitched to me is that it's The Forest, but you're playing as Hunk from Resident Evil 2. So you're like a secret agent dude going in there and trying to clear out everything.
You're interesting. Kind of obscure, but I get what you're saying. At least, Sports Story.
It's got weird body horror stuff in it. Sorry.
To Golf Story.
Woo! Sports Story.
Chris Davis decided to put his stamp on that, like the I own it stamp, which is fine. All I'm saying is him doing that for 13 Sentinels doesn't work. 13 Sentinels is not your story of 2020. I don't approve.
Brad is losing his mind. Okay.
Did anyone here play Golf Story besides me?
No.
Well, I know what you didn't do. You didn't play 55 hours of Yakuza 7, you know?
Yeah, and I don't own Yakuza 7.
Oh my god.
I'm going to need you to keep this train on the tracks. We are so close.
We get it. You guys play video games. God!
Starbase. I don't know what that is. Do I know what that is?
Next game.
It's from Trine. It's a base builder.
Oh, okay. Starfield.
Not happening. I'm calling
now.
Big.
Say
There's
it's
no
not
way.
happening.
There's no way.
No. We live in a world where it'll absolutely happen and it'll just suck.
Listen, you motherfucker. Fallout 4 was revealed at E3 and came out that fall.
Yeah, but when it was revealed, there was actual like gameplay shown and shit.
Okay.
We got like a basic ass like
title.
But like, look,
panoramic view of the solar system.
If anyone that's not named CD Projekt Red wants to make sure that their shit looks polished and bug free and pristine before they show it off, it's probably the next big Bethesda game.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not be surprised if when they show it, it blows our minds and they're like, it comes out this year. Because I feel like the only way anyone's going to let Todd Howard walk off a stage in this day and age is if he does pull some shit like that.
What do you mean? Like alive?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm saying the only way Bethesda continues. Oh wait, they were both on Microsoft.
Yep.
Is if they show Starfield off, it looks amazing, and we get to buy it soon.
Oh man, that
the
is
only way
fucking funny.
they get their goodwill back. State of Decay 3.
Man, I should really play
Good.
State of Decay 1, huh?
Dear zombies.
You really should, Nick.
My God, man.
I know.
You should
I
play
know.
1 and then skip 2 maybe, and then maybe play 3.
I hear 2 is vastly improved since launch.
I know. It just
had that conversation.
left the sour taste in my mouth. Let's move
Zombie
on. Hopefully
deer.
3 is good.
Pioche says zombie deer.
We haven't seen anything about it besides the cinematic trailer where a deer screamed, and that was cool.
But they're implying that the infection is spread to other animals. So we're going to have zombie bears. We're going to have our crossover to Days Gone.
We're gonna have zombie chipmunks. We're gonna have zombie badgers. We're gonna have zombie squirrels. We're gonna have zombie peacocks. We're gonna have zombie iguanas. It's gonna be crazy, Brad.
Fuck yeah.
I'm
We
sorry,
might even
but
have zombies.
It made
I'm
me think
sorry,
of
but-
Evil Dead 2, and that made me happy.
the
Zombigators.
description of we saw a deer scream and that was cool. That's all I need. I'm sold. Next game.
Where were we? Steel Rising. I don't know what this is.
I don't either. It's an action
set
RPG.
during the Cloud Punk French Revolution.
That says clock punk.
Clock Punk. What did I say? Cloud Punk?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I'm.
What the fuck is clock punk?
Clock Punk is probably. It's just a subset of other.
A lot of gears.
Oh,
and
gross.
hands.
Steampunk, but exclusively focused on
But with
clocks.
time travel, yes, Nolan.
I don't want to say anything bad about furries, but like people who are.
But
into
I'm going to
steampunk
anyways.
Are like, I make more jokes about them. Okay, I'm sorry. Stray. That's the one about the cat.
The kitty cat in the alleyway.
In a world full of robots.
You're a
Yeah,
cat.
I'll play it.
Subnautica Below Zero.
This game has better come out of early access this year, man. I'm dying to play this shit. And Chris Davis gifted it to me. I have it. I'm ready, but I'm not touching it until it's 1.0.
It's gotta. And thanks for gifting that to him so I can play his copy. 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I mean, it's just
That's
a word of 3D World with more
But
content.
I am looking forward to playing it because I never touched it.
3D World was great. I'm looking forward to playing it on the Switch because it's going to be better than on the Wii U. And then plus the Bowser's Fury expansion. We don't really know a whole lot about it, but I'm sure it's going to be fun.
I'm a bit of a 3D World stan. I'll tell you to get that one over Odyssey any day. And after playing through
I don't know about that.
After playing through Sackboy with Malia, I'm actually probably gonna maybe try to play through this because we had a pretty good time. And yes, it's better than Odyssey. Come on, Odyssey.
I would 100% disagree with you on that.
I'm not an Odyssey hater. I'm a 3D World lover.
Come on, Brad, focus.
Look, man, I'm on 120. Superland 2.
Definitely excited.
He's still the guy who makes Superland is still gonna do another DLC for Superland 1, I think. So I don't know.
Yes, he is.
Superland.
When does he find time to make Superland 2 if he's still making DLC for Superland 1 and it's like he's the team?
I think it's like Kickstarter, like it's like a Shovel Knight situation. Like, we have to keep making Shovel Knight because our Kickstarter is so successful. Please let us make something else. System Shock 3. I mean, come on, that's vaporware. That's right under Beyond Good and Evil 2.
The System Shock 1 remake is not on this list, and that's probably a more realistic expectation, right?
Both of those are fake. Play System Shock 2, it's a classic. Tales of Arise. This is the big new Tales game, and someone wrote they updated the graphics.
Well, did they not?
I mean, I guess. I mean, just like in the way any new game does, I suppose.
They're not lying.
It does look kind of cool. I mean, I'm a big Tales fan. It's sort of like a guilty pleasure comfort food for me at this point. I mean, but they do have their strengths.
I just wish I could tell them all apart. Like, I feel
Well,
like an
Tales
asshole
games?
saying this, but they all look the fucking same to me.
They look pretty distinct in my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but I
mean,
also
it's easy to not be able to distinguish things that you don't care about. The
that's
next
honestly
game,
fair.
the Eternal Cylinder, which is the next game from Ace Team, which this has a pretty cool trailer. I think it's like a survival game on an alien world with like I get maybe like Spore vibes, but there's like the hook is there's a big cylinder stretching across the entire world that's slowly eating up the things it rolls over. I don't know. Watch a trailer. It looks weird.
This is incredibly weird. I'm looking at the trailer. This is
Everything
bizarre.
that the developer makes is very weird, but this one looks kind of interesting, actually. The Good Life is a new sweary game that got crowdfunded successfully, or no, unsuccessfully, but they're making it anyways. The Good Life. You're like a lady in a town, and there's like maybe a cat or something. I don't know.
There is definitely a cat with goggles.
It's a murder mystery, and every night people turn into animals.
Hey, that's cool. Sweary.
Sure.
Seems like good people. Ooh, no, he was Milkshake Ducks a little bit.
Oh God.
I'm just kidding. Actually, maybe. There's some like transphobic stuff in Deadly Premonition too. I don't know.
Lord.
Whatever. The
gunk.
Transphobia isn't much of a like canceling anymore though, so
apparently
I'm sure he's fine.
Well, yeah, I mean the quote unquote canceling, who really gets canceled, but yeah. Not dudes. The gunk.
I was sure this was going to show up in your top 3, Brad.
It's a gunk planet.
No, I mean it's easy to make fun of the gunk because it's got a weird, stupid name, and it was like the only thing in that entire Microsoft press conference that wasn't like extremely predictable and obvious. But it is from the creators of SteamWorld Dig, and it is SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Heist and SteamWorld whatever. Those are like kind of small indie games that release on like handhelds and stuff. You know what I mean? And this is like a game that's looks like a bigger budget, maybe bigger scope, who knows. So that developer seems good, so I've enjoyed a couple of their games very much. So
he's got a little proton pack on his back and he like sucks stuff up into it. And
so the gunk, man, I don't know, the gunk. Let's see, Legend. Okay, a new Legend of Heroes game. Breath of the Wild 2. We talked about The Medium. That's that game that
Bloober
we thought was like maybe going to be some like weird spiritual successor to Silent Hill, and then we started seeing gameplay footage of it, and it reminded me of like a PS2 game, but in a good way.
So it's you are a psychic medium, so you can straddle the line between parallel worlds, so you can like solve puzzles by it like goes into split screen, and you're suddenly moving around 2 different environments that are in a parallel universe, so you're interacting with them in different ways to solve puzzles and stuff.
I don't know.
It's
music
the
by
mansion level from
Akira
Dishonored
Yamaoka,
2,
who did Silent Hill, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And this is Bloober, the guys that did Observer, the guys that did the Blair Witch, or Blair Witch, which I loved from last year. What else? What's the other game they did? Oh, Layers of Fear. Yeah, that's it's a good studio, and they do like smaller budget, smaller scale games, but they're good.
Not to be confused with the developers of Outlast, which is a horror series. Also, they're making a new game called Outlast Trials. What was the second Outlast game called?
Outlast 2.
Yeah. It was? Okay.
Yeah, so this is Red Barrels is the studio you're referring to, and I love Outlast 1. I love Outlast 2. They're, in my opinion, they're great horror experiences. This is a little bit of a disappointment to me because it's more of like a weird like multiplayer, like I don't know how to describe this, like competitive, like it's competitive in some way. It's weird. It's not Outlast 3, which is obviously what I was hoping for when they were teasing it, but whatever, I'll probably still give it a try.
If the creators of Amnesia, the creators of Outlast, and the creators of Layers of Fear got in a fight, who would win? Stone of Madness, a real-time tactics and stealth game. I
was ready to give that considerable thought, by the way.
The Wolf Among Us 2 is apparently a thing. The Wolf Among Us 2. And I don't think it's going to be episodic. I think we're just going to get The Wolf Among Us 2.
That's weird. I can't imagine playing a game that style
from Neo Telltale,
not broken into episodes.
From Neo Telltale. This way madness lies. try Googling this. You won't find anything about it.
Yeah, I was about to say, I just Googled it and I was like, no.
Nothing. Just
This Way Madness Lies. This is from the creators of Cosmic Star Heroine and Cthulhu Saves Christmas, among other games.
I don't believe you. This game doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist yet. Toady and Top D.
never heard of this.
No idea what this is.
I remember watching something about this, but I can't recall it. Total War Warhammer 3. We don't.
Is this the one that's like horror, like horror-esque?
Toady and Toppy?
No. The Total War game. Warhammer 3.
Vibes. No.
No.
This is Total War.
Fucking Warhammer, bro.
It's Warhammer. No, there is a Warhammer. Look, let's just lump all the Warhammer games.
Oh,
together.
sorry, that's one farther down the list. Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, we're gonna lump all the
Dark
Warhammer games together. We're 40K with the fantasy shit. Look, none of us are Warhammer people, but we do have a Warhammer channel in our Discord. So if you care about any of these Warhammer games, go there and talk about Warhammer.
Hey, wait a minute. I kind of like Warhammer.
No. Warhammer Games Workshop is like comic book tangential. If you know about comic books, you probably know about like Games Workshop and stuff. I mean, come on, Chris, you're not a Warhammer guy.
To be fair, there probably is a Warhammer game for everyone out there.
I read a couple novels and was like, okay.
You have? Come on.
Warhammer 40K Space Marine is a great game.
It's okay.
It's a great game.
It's a little ashy for my taste, but okay.
Yeah, I think that's the point, though.
Yeah, but then it kind of like looped around and became not the point. I don't know. It's
the fascists were.
It's weird. The fascists were like, "This is pretty cool."
Yeah. If you're far enough out in space, fascism is okay. Tunic.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, Tunic is so good. Or it looks cool. It looks so good. I hope it turns out. I hope
it
it
also
comes
plays
together.
good. Nick, you and I played a demo of it.
Yeah, we did.
It plays good. It's been in development for a long time. This is either going to come out and be like an indie darling, or it's going to come out and be a hob.
Brad, I will say, when I played Hob, from the first hour of playing Hob, I knew I wasn't gonna like love it. From the 20-minute demo I played of Tunic, it's fucking great.
Sure,
man. If it tells you anything, I tried playing Hob twice, and I played both times. I played it for about 3 hours, and I started over the second time, played the same 3 hours, and fell off it again in the same spot.
Well, you shouldn't have restarted. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Whew.
Oof.
Bloodlines 1's really good. This one might be good. This one lost all its writers like 1,000 times or something.
And that combat looked kind of rough last time we saw it.
Remember when they were like, oh, we're going to have a big event revealing the game and gameplay and everything. And then you tune in and it was just like this extended, like real life role play, weird, like, oh, we're the evil corporation doing a press conference thing for like an hour.
Yeah, and then they showed the gameplay and it looked rancid, and people were like, "Oh, it's early, it's early,
it's bad,
it's still good." It's, yeah. But yeah, whatever. It looked like shit at the time, and I don't really trust the developer, and it seems like they've had a lot of development issues. So if this one turns out good, I'll be legitimately shocked.
Wait a second. Wait a goddamn second.
Weird.
What is this next game? Okay, I got this game confused.
Yeah, Warhammer 40K Darktide.
No. Sorry. The next game the next game on the list.
Weird West.
Yeah, that's Rafael Colantano's project.
That's the game I was thinking of from earlier, but the other one we talked about earlier was.
You were thinking of like the
Evil West.
The first person PS2 game that was set in like the vampires in the Old West.
Dark Watch.
Yeah. So the Evil West, by the way. If that game is at all comparable to Dark Watch, I'm in.
Oh my god, Nick, have you seen footage of this?
Of Evil West?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen the trailer. Is there like more footage of it than that?
Oh well.
Wait a minute, Evil West or wait, which West are we talking about?
I don't know anymore.
Nick, we're talking about Wild Wild West.
No, there's
Wiki Scratch. Come on, Nick.
I'm not talking about Evil West. There's this game that looks a lot like Dark Watch out there, where there's like gameplay footage, but it's like years and years old.
Oh no, this was just announced.
If anyone can remember the name of that game, please let me know because it does look cool.
This looks like such a Nick thing.
Yeah, that does.
Evil West?
No, Oh yeah, Evil West. I don't know which one I'm looking at. Yeah,
What are we talking about?
Weird West is what I was talking about a while ago. Where it
Which
was like
one has Will Smith in it?
I don't know.
Weird
This
West.
one, it's a cowboy with like a pneumatic fist and stakes and shit. Oh yeah, and Weird West is the top down.
Yeah, the top down like open world RPG with like twin stick shooter controls kind of in combat, which looks cool, but like not cool the same way that Evil West looks, which is
where is the
Dark Watch. Dark Watch needs to come back, bro. Dark Watch was so good.
There's a game there's really a game out there, a vaporware game that looks a lot more like Dark Watch. That's what.
How dare you, Crispy?
I'm just saying, Nick. It's fine. It's funny, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's
very Nick.
Who put Wild on this list?
Wild is, I still say Wild comes out before Beyond Good and Evil 2.
That's a fair assessment. I don't think either of them are coming out though.
What the fuck is Wild?
It was Michel Ancel's love child before he suddenly dropped it to make Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Snake Lady, the animals.
I mean, there were some rumors back in April of this year that said that the game was still in development.
Listen to what you just said.
And I've got some land down in Florida I want to sell you.
I think Wild is more possible this year than Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Well, yeah. But not by much.
Neither exists, so it doesn't matter what year they come out.
We're so close.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot about Skull and Bones, by the way.
Yes, you do, Red.
Oh, it's called Spellbound. Okay, yeah. Yeah, Stardew Hogwarts. This could be cool. Witchfire? I don't know what Witchfire is.
This is that other first-person shooter that looked kind of like, oh god, what would I compare this to?
Dark Watch?
I mean, maybe.
Dark Watch.
It was kind of, it's like a supernatural first-person shooter, and it this looks pretty Dark Watches, but like, this looks way fancier as far as like, or way more advanced, like visually speaking. I think. All
right, here's the next game. Here's the next game. It's called YNGLET. YouTube it. It looks cool, but we can't.
Wait, by the way, Witchfire is made by the Astronauts. Didn't the Astronauts make that walking simulator?
Astronauts make rockets, Nick. Look,
I thought they make like space science.
And our final game is Ease 9, a game I was accused of not being interested in, but I will definitely gameplay that game. I like the Ease series.
I didn't think you were interested.
Launch from Nox. It comes out in February, and it looks cool.
And Brad's gonna play it.
Yeah.
All right. We made it to the end of the list. We've made it.
We did.
It's only a minute after midnight.
Damn, guys. Damn.
It's New Year's Eve.
It's New Year's Eve, guys.
New Year's Eve. Guys, that does. I will post the link to the Google sheet that we've been referencing. That was again, our community helped us put together, which has been a great help. We've done this the past couple of years. Y'all help us put together very, very comprehensive lists that are fun to go through. So if you want to check out any of the games we talked about tonight, there's links to the trailers for all these games in the doc. So I'll post it in the show notes. But guys, again, this is our last show of the year. Thank you so much for listening. 4playernetwork.com is the website. And I guess we'll see y'all next year. Should I make that joke?
No, we just did.
Yeah, it's not even a joke at this
point. Aren't people going to be listening to this show in 2021?
Yeah, that's definitely going to happen. Anyways, guys, be sure to join us in Discord at discord.gg/4player. That is where you can hang out and talk about games and chat up with us all the time. We're in there quite often talking about everything under the sun. So until next time, be safe, wash your hands.
Wait.
Vote in Georgia.
This just in, Nick. Hold on real quick.
Oh, God.
There's another tab down here. It's another list of people. There's a new expansion coming out for Final Fantasy 14. We put that on a separate list because whoever plays that's probably not going to play any of these other games because they just play Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, it's called Forspoken.
That's a cool name.
Good night, everybody. God damn it, Brad. Good night.